was making plays the entire time. What do you mean?
Hey, y'all, we live, y'all.
Basketball is much better than fucking
basketball. I think is more entertaining.
It's more, I'd rather watch basketball than football.
I'd rather watch football.
Football, you
plays be over so fucking fast. It's like all this. It's all this extra downtime. It's a lot of downtime on football.
I don't know. I like slow sports. Technically, I like tennis. I
like
soccer.
Baseball?
Nah, baseball is boring. Baseball is fun to play, but it's boring to watch to me.
Yeah, I like watching football highlights.
Football highlights. Yeah, that's about it.
I like watching highlights after the game, but like I like watching football.
I'd rather watch because football, as soon as the play start, nigga go down, then you gotta wait fucking 2-3 minutes for the next play. That should be boring.
Basketball is back to back. Basketball is just back to back. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'd rather watch basketball over football.
I can't do sports, man. I'm boring.
Damn.
You don't even like hockey?
I used to, but not no more. I used to play hockey, actually.
That's the only sport you get basketball, you get football, boxing, fucking soccer,
all of that. Some niggas throwing hands in
don't if you lose the fight, you go to the penalty box or something.
Even if you win, you go to the penalty box.
I thought if you lost, you go to the penalty box.
No, either way, it's a 5-minute major. So
yeah, they be getting it in.
Somebody got knocked out last week.
Yeah, they be getting it in. I like playing hockey games too.
Yeah, that rookie went up to Axel Ovechkin like he was fucking soft and shit, and you guys ass whooped.
You know all about hockey, huh, Mellon?
I mean, I used to play hockey when I was little.
No wonder you can't get a black chick.
Fuck you, nigga.
What position you play, man?
You know their names and all that.
Yo, what's up?
What position you play when you play hockey?
Oh, Jesus. I was like god dang. I think I played, I can't remember, honestly.
You're lying.
No, I honestly can't remember. Like,
liar, God.
Fuck out of here.
I was a goalie for most of my time playing.
Oh, for real? I could, okay.
Man, goalie looked like that shit is hard.
It's tired.
Oh, it is.
Shifting on your ass.
I got a homie of mine. He played goalie. He said that shit was so hard. I went to one of his games once, and that he said, that shit.
Some niggas a lot of pressure.
I'm good.
Hey,
it's a lot of pressure.
Hey man, today is a great day. It's Easter Sunday. We got Thought Crimes on AGS. And Game of Thrones is coming on later, man.
Facts.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Thought Crime? Prince Solomon and Sincere collectively are known as Thought Crimes. How y'all doing?
Oh, we doing good.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Of course, it's man Prince Solomon in the building. Appreciate it, AGS. Shouts out to everybody in the chat as well, man. Y'all talking about them Game of Thrones. That's what's up.
Hey, there we
Game of Thrones. Here we go.
We kind of a divided house here. We don't all care about Game of Thrones.
The majority.
No, Prince, don't be full
Let's
of shit.
talk about
you
it.
hated it at first.
Let's talk about it.
But when you win,
Let's
and it
talk
shows,
about it.
you watch it now.
You suck me into sexual perversion.
No, he said, he said, I'm not watching no dragons bullshit at first. He said, I'm not watching no Lord of the Rings bullshit.
I feel like we all hated it
Where
at
the
first.
fucking drive-bys at?
I didn't hate that first.
I didn't hate it at first.
Hey, let me tell you, I'm gonna keep it. I did not like that show until I saw Hard Home, and then I got hooked, and I had to binge watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right, it's an ice cream truck that's probably right outside my house, so just get it in now.
Go get your
Here we go. Well, at least we ain't got the squeaky chair syndrome going.
Yo, Hard8.
Nah, my chair legit. I don't got to worry about that, Rabbit.
Yo, what up?
Yo, when you gonna roast that? When you gonna roast that cardboard box?
What?
Huh?
He know what I'm talking about.
I'm glad somebody did.
Come on, man.
He said he don't know, so you might as well
know what you're talking about.
Error cuts.
Oh no,
no, we don't do that here, man.
I'm playing. I'm just joking.
You was not playing. If you would have took the Matrix,
you wouldn't joke and stop that, Drew.
No, but it's just jokes, though. It's just jokes.
No,
ain't no curves on that
bitch. Yeah, typical New York nigga. All talk, no heart.
New York.
Hold up, Ravitch, you
talk to that nigga.
Hold up, Ravitch. You ain't innocent either, nigga.
All right.
Why you talking about New York people for?
Let's go.
Let's start the show here. Happy Easter, everybody. It's like, no, I'm just talking about Easter. Give a fuck about an Easter.
I agree.
First of all, bunnies don't lay eggs. Fuck out of here.
It's some nasty shit.
Oh shit.
Yo, yes, Nessie is still with us, but she's white. They celebrate this shit. So
I don't celebrate this shit.
oh my bad, Ralph. I'm just saying, it is what it is. But no, Nessie out looking for hidden eggs and shit, or dying eggs. I don't know. But she'll be here next week. She'll be back, but she's doing the Easter thing. You dig? Shout outs to DJ the Con. He said another week. Let's get it. Next podcast, we need that in-game segment.
Yeah, we
I'm
need
quite
that.
sure we'll talk about that. You dig? But yeah. So we all here, man. Anybody? Did anybody celebrate Easter?
No.
I hung out with some people earlier.
Nobody ain't got their Easter vest on?
No, man.
I celebrated when I was like 5 years old.
I stopped doing that as soon as I turned 18.
You waited that late? You waited that late?
I had to wait that long. Become an adult.
Man, after 5 years old, I was
Right there, same thing at the 10. That was it.
I mean, I'm just celebrating the death of Prince. So I saw a lot of purple on my timeline because I got a nigga timeline. I didn't see nothing about Easter.
Yeah, I didn't see nothing about Easter.
Wow. Oh shit, that's what's up, man. So Psycho, you went out. You had some loafers on, right?
Had my loafers, my chaps, all that good shit.
Okay.
All that.
Man.
I'm gonna go back out after this. Sunday's best, man. Sunday's best. As usual.
So we here, man. Any Given Sunday podcast, man. Episode 41. We still perfect on a year. We doing it out here. You see what the shit we bringing y'all. Even on Easter, we here. Even on Easter. You dig? Drew can't even go out and look for eggs. He's here. You know what I mean? So y'all need to respect that. But we're gonna get into these intros. Go ahead, Ravish. You know how you do.
Hey man, you know how to do it. Hit me on Twitter. Hit the Patreon, hit the like, smash the like. Shout out to the guests, Thought Crimes, Prince Solomon, and Sincere. Let's get into these topics.
All right. So let's get to the guests. Y'all want to introduce yourselves?
My name is Sincere Ignorance. I'm one half of Thought Crimes.
That sounded like a school report.
Shut up and just do your intro.
I'm just saying, you ain't got.
You focusing on my intro. Go do
yours. I know
yours.
it's tagged. I know. I'm just saying that was a little too formal. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
Now, shout out to everybody, man. We appreciate you so much. I actually got to give all credit to Sincere Ignorance because she tunes in and she's like, "Yo, you got to check these people out." I was like, "Oh man, come on!" Like, well, we got a lot of. Got on here, man. Love the energy. So yeah, Prince Solomon, Thought Crimes. If y'all have been to our channel, y'all know how ignorant we are. Ignorant and informative, but nonetheless, we're ignorant.
Okay, I think y'all gonna fit right in there.
Yeah.
Found the man.
Hey, Rabbit, you finally got it right, huh, player? You got to go look for the ignorant motherfucker.
You shall see. Hey, they be on their BI. Yeah. You see.
All right, man. A couple weeks ago, he tried to go get the most high. They rage quit the podcast.
What do you do? You when he got Farrakhan?
A female Farrakhan. Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? So good. At least we know they're not gonna rage quit. That's good, man. That's good. Because we some ignorant motherfuckers over here.
Hey, who's spilled water over here?
Huh?
Relax, Dark Cloud. Relax.
What do you say?
Who's spilled water?
He talking to the kids, I think.
Oh, he talking to the kids. Man. Forgot he be at Chuck E. Cheese every week. All right, player. Go ahead, Melon.
Yo, it's Melon. Hit me up on Twitter. Let's get to the topics and shout out to the guests for coming through.
All right. Go ahead, Demon.
What's going on, guys? Demon Ralph adding a little color to this podcast this week. Follow me on Twitter at Demon Ralph, and shout out to the guests. Hit the like button. Get this thing trending.
The sky is definitely falling. This nigga made it 2 weeks in a row, man. Shout out to Demon Ralph, man. The sky is falling.
And he active as shit in the group chat.
Oh, yeah. I know, right?
Yeah.
The whole week.
Yeah, damn.
Took you guys long enough.
Hey, shout out to Sir Lord Black. He said, "I'm here for the foolery." You dig? So, enjoy. Go ahead, Dark Cloud.
What's good, everybody? Missed last week. Missed some fun, but I'm here this week. Hopefully, we could do another drunk podcast, and I will be here.
God.
Yeah. Let's get to these topics.
Oh man, here we go.
And also shout out to the guests. I was about to say whoever found these two. It's two for the price of one. They're pretty lit already.
Hey, you making it sound like some slave niggas.
Whoever found it, right here. Word, that did sound like
Hey, hold on. No, y'all light skin or dark skin?
It don't even matter.
Don't do it. Don't even do it.
Our black sex.
So you asked them if they're in the house
no,
or they're in the
no
field.
colorism on AGS, baby.
No.
That's crazy. You asked if they in the house or in the field. What?
Yep.
Come on now.
Fuck y'all niggas crazy.
We appreciate it,
Oh,
though. We
man.
definitely appreciate it, man. Wonderful. Y'all being very cordial to us. So we know things about to get fucked up though.
Yo, where y'all from? Where y'all from?
He's from ATL. I'm from Jersey.
Oh yes.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what's up.
All right.
There you go. Right, the north and the south.
Yeah, but North conquered the South. That's why you're up here now in Jersey. ATL, he's up here.
First of all, don't nobody care about your little Chipotle restaurants and your gentrified neighborhoods.
Oh shit.
Talk to that nigga.
Oh man, shout out to the tri-state area, the ATL.
Shit.
Hey, go ahead, Drew. You went, Drew?
Nah, Drew Game, check out my channel. That's it.
All right, Cycle.
This cycle ain't got no channel. Hit me up on Twitter.
got a helmet,
Shout out to the guests and shout out to the chat. Let's get it. And
Go
fuck
ahead.
you.
Go ahead, Candace.
Oh, you heard that?
I heard that, motherfucker.
Yo, happy Zombie Jesus Day, everybody. Hopefully you're celebrating.
Wow.
And shout out to the guests
Taking my headphones
because
off.
I checked out their podcast, or they look pretty lit too. So it's gonna be
Happy Zombie Day. Damn, that's crazy.
Wow.
That is right though. Didn't he come back from the dead or something? He was a zombie. That's true.
That is real. That is real.
You know what I mean? That's real. He needed a headshot to be put down. That's real. Yo, go ahead, Dark Cloud.
I already did mine.
Okay, we got everybody.
Yeah,
So a lot of y'all motherfuckers. We got everybody. All right, good, man. Yo, so we here, man. What we gonna talk about first? What y'all want? Y'all want to talk about this? Y'all want to jump right into the PS5 specs reveal?
Yeah.
AK gang.
Oh no.
yeah.
I took a look into it. I saw it. It said some shit about 8K. I said, damn, they're already driving people crazy with 4K. So we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, definitely, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, that
Most people haven't even adopted 4K yet.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't even got 4K TVs. Like,
Not necessarily. So statistic came out more than 56% of the United States have 4K TVs in their house.
That's just
all right,
you.
but all that good quality though.
That's not the statistics that these like Microsoft and all these guys are looking at. They're looking at, doesn't matter if it's like a $200 TCL or an Insignia, it's a 4K display. So they're gonna, you got to remember, if you haven't seen better, you don't know better. So a person that may buy a TCL is thinking that's like Jesus walked in his house, and then go see it like a C9 or A9G, and then like, holy shit, I could have gotten better. So that's up to the consumer themselves. But one of the things I want to touch on is the whole 8K realm. So it's the same thing I've been saying for like the longest time. PlayStation 4 Pro, regardless if it's dynamic, the word 4K is attached to it. The same thing with the Xbox One X. The word 4K, 4K 60 uncompromised is attached to it. So you can't come out the gate. Microsoft and Sony would look like straight idiots if they came on stage and said, hey, this system's 4K 60. Customers or like the average consumer is like, hold up, didn't you say that the Pro does that? Didn't you say that the X does that? Why would I need to buy this? So you need to have, it's not necessarily fraud, because if you look at it this way, the what is it, the Samsung 900R, it doesn't even support HDMI 2.1, so it's a fake 8K TV. You'll never be able to feed true 8K content to it. What it's doing is it's upscaling 4K to 8K. So a lot of these TVs already, you can't even, unless you live in Japan and Thailand, they have true 8K channels. I think Japan has like 24 channels in 8K 24/7, and then Thailand has a few channels. So it has to be something on the box that could be marketed. And 8K is a buzzword. Go look at go on the Best Buy right now. Customers are walking in there asking, hey, let me see this 8K TV. As for if it's going to play this, I know I may sound like silly, But a lot of people look like idiots, basically saying that what was in the Xbox One X was never going to be able to do 4K native. So you can't throw anything out the bus right there and saying that it may not be able to do 8K, because you also got to remember the closed box system. The closed box system is using a 3rd generation Ryzen versus a Jaguar. A Jaguar is like driving a fucking Daewoo versus an actual like 1999 Honda Civic. So that difference in processing power in a closed box system, think of PC. You have an i9, you have a 2080 Ti. These developers don't look at those consoles, those PCs as like, hey, let's optimize. Oh, you have that much power? Here, take this, take that, take this. Versus the closed box system, they have to optimize. Okay, now imagine.
I was just going to say, so basically for a guy who doesn't really care about specs, you're saying it's not 8K unless it's native and upscaling doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. But in the world of consoles, this system is gonna do 4K 60 regardless of what everybody's thinking. That's the end game result. Look at that. We're getting some games in 4K 60 on a Jaguar. That's a cell phone chip.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Like something like The Last of Us is not going to be fucking 8K. Like,
no, of course not. But
like,
you think
I don't think
anybody. Nothing is going to be. We ain't.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna get Netflix at 8K. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, but what the consumers actually know, because like I worked in sales before, especially technology, and one of the things I used to hate is having to deal with the general public when it came to selling technology. Mm-hmm. So when you brought up the point about the 8K situation, I mean, will the consumer even know if they're being ripped off or not, quote unquote? You know, you're gonna get some guy calling. Do you have the 8K thing? Like,
yeah. Look, there's been like things to add on to what you're saying. There's been like little conventions and stuff that even Best Buy and some other gaming sites hold, where they'll put a native 4K display next to a PS4 Pro. The average consumer can't see that. Again, the average consumer, before anybody attacks me, you might be retarded.
Oh, jeez.
If you're me or Hard8 or the rest of us in here, I can spot native 4K like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because you said you said the point about the marketing, right? It's like the marketing with the hard drives, right? You know, when they say, "Oh, this one's going to be 1 terabyte," but of course, when you open it up, it's like at 963 gigabytes, right?
Right.
But the consumer will argue if they actually like, "Yo, this isn't 1 terabyte." You cheated me on something. So I think to that point, that's going to probably present some problems for some of the salesmen. I do feel sorry for a lot of the salesmen are going to have to deal with this, because people are going to come back. I thought this was going to be 8K. Somebody told me it wasn't.
They're not going to recognize it, though.
Do you think that there might be some people who will be intimidated by the 8K buzzword? Because let's say they're like, okay, this is going to be 8K. Let me go see how much 8K TVs are. And then they realize they cannot even begin to hope to pay for one.
No,
so
it's
like,
go ahead.
But you also got to remember, 8K TV, this is the first wave of 8K TVs. And then now, I mean, I don't know if I can get in trouble. Say there's a new panel manufacturer that manufactures panels at literally half the cost. That's why if you looked at like 8K TVs when they were first announced, like a 85-inch was like literally 30 grand. Now you can get one for 15. So next year, when the PS4, whatever, if they were to come out, I'm not going to say anything else. If they were to come out next year, those TVs at that price point is not going to be that expensive. Look at it right now. Last year, you went out and bought a 65-inch Q9 for $5 grand. Right now, you could buy a 65-inch 8K 900R for the same price.
Mm-hmm. Well, technology gets cheaper over time, so of course.
Of course, but
I just want a Q8OR.
So, how do y'all feel about the specs and stuff? Are y'all excited? Are y'all willing? I mean, how do y'all feel about the specs? And is anybody like would be upset if the console was $500?
It's gonna be $500.
$500, yo, I'm buying it.
I would be happy it's $500 because I feel like it might end up being $599. So
yeah, they say we take like $100 loss on it, right?
With $500.
I don't feel like it depends on it.
They said they would take like $100 loss on the console at $500.
That's if we decide to put a 4K player in it.
I don't think so. Because they're making what, $18, $19 on the PS4, or when it first launched, they made
when it first launched, yeah, it cost like
think they
$383 or something. To make.
Yeah, I don't think they would take that big of a loss next generation.
Well, they can afford it this time around.
True.
There's no way it's going to be $399.
No, it's $499.
If it's $399, I'm gonna be disappointed.
That's gonna be an L, dog. Like
$499.
If it's $399, I'm gonna be disappointed. That shit gonna be too fucking weak.
Yeah,
$399, dog.
Yeah, but having that what is it? An AMD what is it? An AMD chip what is it? God damn it.
The Zen?
Yeah, the Zen 3.
Yeah.
Even if it was $399, it can't be that cheap. It's a huge upgrade over the PS4.
Well, 500 sounds like the sweet spot. So
it's gonna be. It's gonna be because it's adding dual MIMO. What is it? 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It's adding in a Dolby Atmos chip, and it's adding in a DTSX chip. That type of stuff ain't cheap.
Yeah, for those in the chat who don't know, DC Dark Cloud is actually a Sony employee, so that's why we're getting all that good intel.
That
explains it. Huh?
We all knew that.
He changed trash cans and mop floors. That don't count.
You're right.
So let's just hypothetically speak. If it's $600, is that too much? If the specs show that this is like a beast and it's $600, how do y'all feel? Like too much?
I think guys like us wouldn't care, but I think the general consumers might have a problem with
casual gamers.
Yeah.
For me, it would be a little pricey, but I can still see why it still looks justified based on the specs.
I mean, if
So
they can
would
because I feel like the PS3 was justifiable at the time, but that's just me. But if it's justifiable, which is the $600 too much?
Yeah, it is.
For parents, they're probably going to be, bitching the most. But like you said, people who are hardcore gamers and stuff like that, they're not going to care.
Facts.
Yeah, we only the hardcore gamer only makes up possibly 30% of those sales.
But the hardcore gamer is the day one buyer.
Yeah, we're not the target
Sony
market.
made a lot day one, didn't they?
What you say?
I said, isn't the hardcore gamer the day one buyer though? And Sony made a lot day one this gen rather.
Yeah, I mean the PS3 sold out too. So yeah, the hardcore is the day ones and the pre-orders and all that shit. But I'm definitely excited for it because with that type of power, I just want to see what they do with their exclusive games. Like
exactly. That's the only thing I care about.
It depends on if they're not lazy and take advantage of it.
Who's lazy as far as
who's lazy? Santa Monica.
Have you seen what our devs have done for this gen? Like,
what are you talking about?
Lazy?
No, because I'm saying you have certain exclusive games, right? There's only a few developers like Naughty Dog, Rockstar, and them, but what about everybody else?
Rockstar's not a fucking first party.
Who else are you trying to talk about, like first party wise? Because
I'm not talking about first party. It's first party is only a select few of games.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. You said Rockstar. They're not first party.
I'm saying I was talking about developers in general being
lazy.
We're
talking about the exclusives.
We're talking about
the Uncharted, the Last of Us, the
home studio games.
I'm just saying that's why I said I'm not that excited for it because outside of those games, what about everything else?
But look, here's the thing: third party. You never expect third party developers.
Oh yeah, you're right about that.
Don't you got a good PC? Like
Drew, let me.
But I have a PlayStation 2.
Okay. Let me put it in perspective for you. The vanilla PS4 plays games at 1080p.
Okay.
And it's playing those developer games at higher resolution than the X, right? That system right there is compared to like i3 with like a shitty ass like like an 860 or whatever graphics card. Everything that we're getting in this system is close to modern day.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I just feel like it's going to be developers that's just not really going to take advantage of it.
But we're not talking about
that's up to those developers.
I'm saying that's what I'm talking about.
No, but
why?
We were talking about how the exclusive's going to look with all this power.
Because before that Hard 8, you said, how do we feel about the specs? And that's how I feel about it.
Okay. But we kind of moved on a little bit.
I think the Soldier Boy Council has the best specs, and I think
low-key, right?
Also, there was reports that shout outs to who was that?
Menstruation frustration?
No, I thought it was okay. Yeah, shout outs to him for the super chat. Also, reports are that the next Xbox is going to be even more powerful than the PS5.
They were only saying that because when the leaks came out, there was a rumor that it was going to be a Ryzen second gen, but and then the Anaconda was going to be rocking the 3rd gen. Now that literally that shuts all them Xbox niggas up.
I mean, honestly,
I think it will. I think it probably will be more powerful than the PlayStation.
I think it's coming out later, so it might.
Yeah,
be.
you kind of underestimating them, Dark Cloud.
I'm not underestimating them.
You just don't like them. That's all.
Basically, the rumor was that
yeah, there you go, Cycle.
No, and listen. The rumor was that the PS5 was supposed to use a 2nd gen, not a 3rd gen. Now it's using a 3rd gen.
But I mean,
no,
here's my thing.
But this is after. Hold on, after the specs were revealed. This news came out that the Xbox was going to be more powerful.
I think it would be cool if the Xbox is more powerful, because that means at the start of the gen, we have 2 real contenders, not just one contender. And
so my thing is, they can have all that power, but what the fuck are they going to do with it? Because
exactly,
they've done it this gen and they haven't done shit with it. So.
Well,
they got those studios for no reason.
Yeah, we'll see.
No. Those studios are Netflix studios. They're not. Those studios are not the same as like a Naughty Dog or anything. Those are Netflix.
How do you know that? You don't know what they can do.
No. Phil Spencer came out and said that these studios were to add more content to Game Pass.
Okay, so a Game Pass. So now we with the stigma that a Game Pass game can't be great. Like, what are you talking about?
It's gonna take some time before that happens.
I think it's possible that these new studios can produce greatness, because I mean, nobody expected Guerrilla Games to come out with Horizon Zero Dawn. So I'm not of the mind that Xbox's new studios are guaranteed to produce trash. I'm just like, let's wait and see.
Yeah,
let's wait
time
and
will
see.
tell.
Exactly.
We definitely gotta wait and see.
Yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. But you think they don't take advantage of the whole Netflix culture, right? The Netflix culture, because somebody brought up the point that even though, because we've seen this with console gamings, PlayStation 2, 3, 4, you've had, premium moments or A titles that at the height, right? They get celebrated all in the magazines. This is the best looking game, graphics, everything. But it's like art points in the gaming culture. It's not a consistency. So do you all feel that like they're just going to be flooding with just random games, taking advantage of the quote unquote Netflix culture and not the hardware itself?
That's what we think. That's what we think.
Yeah, it looks like that's where they're heading. I hope not. They don't go full tilt Netflix.
If until they come with a classic, it remains to be seen. But we're thinking it's basically a premium price for the service, and we're gonna get mediocre trash. That's what
What I'm saying is like those studios have the ability. Hold on.
Hey, Dark Cloud, you better give Lassie the civil business.
What I'm saying is those studios have the ability to create great games, but it's gonna take time. I'm not saying that they're never gonna create a Naughty Dog type game. That's gonna take trial and error.
Yeah.
But with the backing of Microsoft damn, I forgot this nigga's name, man. There's a dude that was with Microsoft that didn't believe in like the budget in games. That nigga's gone now. So so now that's why they've been buying up these studios. Before then, he was damn it, bro. His name is like right on the tip of my tongue. But he's gone now.
Keep your answers short, Dark Cloud.
Hey man, he's being specific.
Hey yo, shout out to Sauce Curry TV. He said, "What wouldn't Microsoft make the console as powerful as possible? Plus, they have studios. Stop fanboying over PlayStation all the time. Be objective for once."
I mean, there's a chance it'll be powerful. There's also a chance it won't be as powerful. Neither of these things are facts. Let's keep it real.
Let me throw something out here real quick. Do y'all think? Because I feel like Sony might be trying to bait and switch out here because they are releasing this information kind of early. Do y'all think they're trying to set Microsoft to jump out the window and then change up the specs?
I think a little bit they might be, but at the same time, they can't go under what they released, because that would only backfire. What
I'm saying is they can go better.
Not going under.
Not go under. They would go better if they just putting this out there and they trying to bait Microsoft to do something, and then they gonna turn around and change it and make it better.
You mean like try to get them to commit?
Yeah, try to get them to commit to maybe, little bit more powerful specs, and then Sony changes it and do something better or something like that. Because I feel like they didn't have to come out with this information right now. It's kind of early.
No, they came out with it because I mean they're fucking geniuses over there. Whoever's in charge of their marketing
came out.
Yeah, exactly. So whoever's in charge of their marketing is like really in tune to what's going on in this community. So for instance, whenever Microsoft comes out with something, Sony like listen to it. Sony always has something that comes out right next to it. Like for instance, with this situation right here, the new Xbox Digital, whatever, Sony came right out and talked about the specs without talking about the specs. You know what I'm saying? They came out and said whatever is here, whatever's there, and that overshadowed whatever Microsoft was going to say that day. It overshadowed it.
But I think that Sony information came out first that day.
Yeah, but what he's saying is basically Sony.
No, I know what he's saying, but the Sony information came out first, though. So you saying that Sony knew that they were going to talk about the
all this stuff. Look, all this shit. Like they know what's going on between each other. They all know. They all have whisperers here and there that tell whoever stuff, tell Sony stuff, tell Microsoft stuff. So they all know what's going on, and they plan this shit out strategically.
Yeah, so they know each other's tech as well.
I mean, but that digital shit wasn't gonna make no noise anyway, though.
I think Microsoft really expected it to, though.
But no,
I definitely agree with Cycle. That Sony over there is very strategic, and they know when to kind of steal Microsoft's thunder, like every time almost.
Well, we know these companies have spies.
That all digital shit wasn't bringing no thunder.
They're gonna do the same shit at E3.
Just so y'all know, just so y'all know, people. When it comes to like media stuff, somebody is always leaking information before it comes out. You never know who has an insider that's telling, hey, Sony, this is what's going to happen. Exactly. There's going to be a person, like for instance, some of the people that work over like AMD, somebody's getting paid to tell us what the specs of the Xbox is going to be. If you don't believe that, you're crazy.
Oh, it's rats on all sides. Yo, shout outs to Moot Game. He says Santa Monica going to take advantage of that power. Corey's main problem with God of War was the budget, and with the success it had, Sony going to throw money at them like a stripper.
God of War look amazing.
That's what I'm saying. I want to just see what they're going to do with all this power with their first party games.
That'll look good.
Yeah, it's going.
I just want to say something real quick. This is the one toxic. This is the one toxic thing. No. This is the one toxic thing about YouTube. Like, instead of like basically looking at a person that started on the YouTube thing and actually made it somewhere into like somewhere where they've always wanted to be. Instead of taking that and say like, "Yo, Dark Cloud, that's what's up." Every nigga in the comment section, not all of them, is always looking to put somebody down with that crab mentality system. So instead of basically pushing. I know that, but instead of pushing your brothers up, these dumbass clowns that's paying money to try to clown me, all you're doing is
blocking niggas.
I'm not. No, I just want them to realize you're lining our pockets to make yourself look like an idiot.
Look, man, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't doing it right. You know what I mean?
Right?
Shout out to
it's a trolling culture.
Right.
It's a trolling culture. You got to keep that in mind. Like, I mean, look at everything online. Celebrities are trolling.
Right.
Kim Kardashian trolls.
If you got something, people gonna troll you. If you're good looking, if you're making money, or if you're articulate, they're gonna fuck with you.
They gonna troll you if you upload a video of when you're feeding the baby. Man, fuck that baby.
Fuck that baby ugly.
Yo, facts, man.
So before we get off the topic of Sony, what do y'all think about the censorship?
Well, yeah, I was just about to get into that because we wasn't getting off the topic. But thank you, Demon Ralph.
Welcome.
Shit.
Sony is supposed to be clamping down on sexual content on the PS4 and I guess 5 moving forward. I think it's complete bullshit. Like, this is the thing. This is the thing that just fucks me up about America or just people in general. I'm sitting here looking at Mortal Kombat gameplay. You know what I mean? Shao Kahn got a fatality where he knocked your head through your ass. You did blood and guts all over the fucking place. This is great. But you show a goddamn titty, it's a problem.
It's a wrap, yeah.
What the fuck is going on around here? I don't get this shit.
It could be because the parents aren't as savvy as the kids. Because it seemed like maybe the family block or whatever they have isn't working. Mm-hmm. But maybe parents should stop being a little bit lazy and fucking it up for us.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say exactly that. It's the culture. It's the culture in the United States of this like Puritan. If you're showing any kind of what is it, genitalia or sexual body part, then you're being inherently
it's
sexual.
like taboo or whatever.
Yeah, everything is super taboo here, and since Sony is so big in the U.S., exactly.
Yeah, except violence, because
it's not necessarily the violence. It's exactly what Ken is saying, and I'm sorry, true crimes or whatever it's called. My bad. Hold on. Let me lose my thought.
Take a break.
Nigga said true Hollywood stories.
Nintendo has no type of like censorship, none whatsoever. They go ham, and parents actually use their actual parental consent stuff. Their app is like crazy good when it comes to that stuff. I just think when it comes to a PlayStation, a parent just says, "Here, take that." Then they walk around the corner and see a titty out there. Oh shit!
I remember when I was younger, and I seen RoboCop for the first time with my parents.
Oh shit!
They didn't have no problem with me. Y'all seen the original RoboCop?
Yeah, the original. Clearly, the original.
Then we're watching fucking Witches of Eastwick, and I gotta cover my eyes during certain scenes. I'm like, what?
What's the point?
Like, hold on.
Listen, my parents let me watch Hellraiser. You know how those fucking movies are. They let me watch Hellraiser. Right. Wouldn't let me watch fucking How Stella Got Her Groove Back. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, that's it. You can watch Hellraiser, but you can't watch 9.5 weeks. What the fuck?
I know for me personally, my mother, ratchet as possibly be. So our family movies was, of course, New Jack City, Menace to Society, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
But if a sex scene come on, you got to cover your eyes.
That's a wrap. Like, oh, you can't be watching this. Like, what?
Oh, it's a titty on the screen. Cover your eyes. What do y'all think about this and what Sony is doing? I think it's complete bullshit.
Right there with you. Fuck that shit. I need my
titty. I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb as hell. That's what mature rated games are for. Like, if you have a parent that's going to buy their kid a mature rated game, that's their
on
bad.
them. That's on them,
Yeah, we got a fucking rating system for that. And then isn't Mortal Kombat, didn't Mortal Kombat like try to clamp down on
they did.
scantily
Like, they
clad
up
women?
Yeah, like they covered up all the women. They covered up all the women.
Hold on. Hey, Ad Boom, if you don't knock it the fuck off, cover up the women, but you can watch all this violent fatalities, eyeballs getting poked out.
What part of the women did they cover up?
The titties,
the breasts,
the breasts.
They damn near covered up everything
too, because a lot of skin was covered.
They removed it.
But what does that say though? Think about that though. What are they saying? Because what are they saying? It's like, what is this? That shit? It's that whole Adam and Eve shit.
Oh, the
exactly. I feel like they're trying to make it more shameful than it is. Like they're making it more taboo than it is by making it like, oh, we can't show this anymore because it's a problem. What exactly is a problem?
Mortal Kombat started the fucking rating system. Like,
literally.
Like,
why the
fuck? Though, has any American developer censored any of their games, or is this all Japanese?
Actually, I think Sega did, but
Japanese.
Sega's Japanese.
Yeah,
it's not the developers that censor them; it's Sony, right? Or
no,
Sony
I'm just saying because I haven't seen any from an actual American developer.
You don't think it's too hard for them to put an option?
Sony is clamping down on the game, so it don't even matter what you do. Sony wants that shit censored.
But you know what? To be fair, I think they really are just doing this in response to American culture. Because in other countries, game developers censor other shit. Like in Germany, Wolfenstein.
Anything with Nazism is gone.
Any Nazi censor, all that's gone. In Australia, a lot of violent stuff is gone. So it's like
bullshit.
It depends on where you are. What you're not going to be able to see.
Objectify these goddamn women, goddamn it. Fuck that shit. I want to see some titties, and I want women to look like women.
Hell yeah, get the audience.
What are you gonna do with the characters like Melina and all of them?
They got A-cup breasts now.
You mean just like Teresa? Fighting,
pretty much.
Everybody got breast reduction.
Scarlet. After I rip your fucking head off. After I rip your head off, I'm dressed like Mother Teresa and shit.
Scarlett's whole outfit, like her outfit in general, like everything is literally covered up. Her face, her fucking chest or lack thereof, fucking ass, like everything. It's
Anybody that got a problem with like women being objectified in games, get your faggot ass out of here. That's the one thing. That's what I really liked about Friday the 13th. The women actually were shaped like women.
They got
I just feel like the people who claim that they have a problem with the objectification of women in games don't really keep that same energy with the way they are designed.
Them same niggas is watching porn, so
I think they're SJWs. The intelligence off the character. I think people shouldn't care about the look, as long as the story is good and the woman ain't a total bitch, like she got some skills and stuff. No one should be complaining.
What happened with the other one though? What was the other one? You remember in the early Mortal Kombat? What was it? So like Shiva, you know, when she
with the
was ugly as shit, but when she turned around, it was like an Uncle Luke video.
Listen, man, big titties jiggle. God damn it, stop being fucking sensitive. Because wasn't they crying about Dead or Alive too? Also,
did that get censored as well though?
It's not censored in Japan and China. It's only
but it's censored here though, isn't it?
It's not censored in Japan, but Japanese porn is. That weird shit with all the blurs everywhere.
Yeah,
what's that about?
Hey, hold on. Let me get to these super chats, man. We got Truth Hurts. He said Xbox being more powerful is irrelevant. Xbox is in last place for a reason. PC for multiplats and Microsoft published multiplats and PS5 for exclusives. Then we have Sauce Curry TV. He said, nothing's taboo in America. You see a little bitch showing her cheeks every day with no problem or backlash.
Yep. Just
And
look over
then
to
we
Twitter.
got Master. He said, people and soy boys are afraid of titties. Shaking my damn head.
Just go to Instagram.
Over that insult.
The soy boy.
Now, when you go to Instagram, they got chick with their nipples all out, and then you wonder, like, wait, how did that get passed?
Well, let's go to YouTube. Cardi B video, you can watch the tits on the girls in that video, but they censor every fucking YouTuber.
And they get you for cursing.
They get you for cursing. Demonetized.
It's because we have generational divides. The people in power are not the people putting their breasts and their ass on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like,
stop being scared of titties, goddammit, please. Shit. It's okay, man. We got all this violence in video games, but we can't see some titties.
But
like, I don't fucking get this shit.
What do you think about the revamping of like the whole Laura Croft situation, like the whole Laura Croft property? I mean, they seem to have done it in an intelligent manner, correct?
Well, actually, I'm a little annoyed with the developer, or not the developer. I think it's the main writer, because he tried to make it seem like giving Laura her pistols and her iconic outfit would be like a heyday to when she was only heavily fetishized. That's like paraphrase, but essentially what he was saying.
There was a titties. That's what we want back. That's the original Laura Croft.
Pointy titties.
Y'all remember a while back there was a petition? Y'all remember a while back there was a petition to get Tifa's breast reduced?
Who?
Yes.
Right.
Who? Yes.
I remember
Tifa
that.
from Final Fantasy VII. There was a petition to try to get her breast reduced.
Who are these faggots, man?
You know what? The only time I cared about a character's breasts was when Mass Effect 3 was getting announced, and what's her name? Ashley all of a sudden had like big ass double D's when
she was thick.
She went from a size B to double D's. It's like, no.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
It's a war
I
going
pay for
on.
that
Why you
business
have
in
time
the
to get
game.
breast implants?
I pay for that business.
Some bitches want to look sexy during war.
Double D's.
I'll that bitch the fuck out.
Yeah.
I don't just understand men having a problem with this shit, man. I don't get it.
know.
It's the men that are basically trying to say that like women should be in power. You know them type of niggas is like them niggas.
Soy boys. All right.
Yeah, it's those type of dudes.
Oh, man.
You know what? My thing is this is what's interesting about all of this for me personally. All right, so you have a cultural phenomenon. Let's go back to the Larry Flint era, the 70s Playboy era, right? A culture that was deep and celebrated and all that. And then we get all the way up to, what was the white girl with the plastic stretchy face in the 90s? Everybody was on her with the barbed wire shit.
Pamela Anderson? Oh, yeah, Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
That movie was
right. And then so you get beyond all of that, right? And then even within our hip hop culture, we still got like the Little Kims, we still got the Cardi B's and all of that. But then, you know, it's to me, my problem with all of this is it's the way they even are trying to balance it out. Like you said, you just put a petition out there out of nowhere after the game's been developed to reduce the breasts, right? It's like it's not a smooth transition.
They just should diversify it. So
Yeah.
you just have a market where you have a diversity of different types of women. Like if people want to see boobs, let them see boobs.
Yeah.
If people want to see this, let them see this. Just have a diversity of games. You don't need to censor anything.
Yeah, if you want to listen to No Name, you want to do that. If you want to go listen to Cardi B, she's right there.
Yeah, you got the choice.
I love it. Y'all like tag teaming. I dig it.
And they got they got a rating system. If you don't like what you see, leave it alone.
Exactly. There was a time where they were basically saying that women are too curvy, and then what was it? There was something about a superhero that was coming out or a movie. They were like, why can't she have underarm hair like other women? I'm like, what? Like, but it was sexist women that was coming out saying that. Like those feminists were saying that. Women, they were saying that not all women or got big breasts. Some women are muscular. Some women, you shouldn't have to shave your underarms. You shouldn't need to smile. Shit like that.
But I agree with you. Can we really be honest with ourselves though? Like we're all regular folk on this line here, right? But when we look at our entertainment system, right, it's a filtration process. Most motherfuckers don't look like that in real life, so we do enjoy that aspect of the vanity, the beauty. When you start doing shit like you remind people that women have underarm hair, like, anybody gonna buy that shit?
I think in society that's what we like. We like people who have discipline. Like people like Mayweather for a reason in boxing. Like they liked his discipline in that area with his body. So I think people, like it's people are kind of.
Like, nobody want to see what's the boy from King of Queens? They don't want to see him in the ring.
Chubby Kevin James.
Yeah. King of Queens is fucking lit, first of all.
Fire.
Classic.
We're not gonna have no disrespect. That's one of the best sitcoms behind Martin for me. King of Queens.
It's just one of these people that they're not happy with their reality, and they see like these damn near demigods being represented in games,
and they want to destroy them.
Yeah, they like
censor all of it.
Yeah, what do you have somebody that looks like that? Like
I think
somebody that looks like me. No, you go to the gym. You go to the gym.
I don't know. People want to put too much realism.
Real shit.
It's like,
oh man, that's
real shit right there.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, Sony, knock it the fuck off. That's all I gotta say. If Microsoft is not censoring and Sony is, well, I'm gonna have to holler. No, I'm bullshit. I ain't missing them exclusives.
Yeah, it's just
Yo, there's a game on Nintendo where you can literally feel on titties, dog. Like, come on.
No.
Hey, yo, stop trying to push that Nintendo shit, dog.
I'm going over this again, Dark Cloud.
No, listen. Why y'all always like jumping? I'm saying you just said Microsoft isn't doing it. I'm saying Nintendo isn't doing it. So PlayStation shouldn't do it.
Yeah, we good. But any more gaming shit we need to get to?
Days Gone.
Consoles.
Who's picking it up?
Oh, Days Gone. Yeah, everybody's getting Days Gone, right? Day one, everybody?
I need to see the reviews first.
Day one. A1, day one. Yeah.
Drew, you need to see the reviews?
I have to, cause I'm a little iffy about that game.
What's your concern, player?
From the gameplay, because the last gameplay I've seen, I don't know.
The AI look a little questionable. What's some of your concerns?
The last gameplay I see, like the fluidity of the game, and plus, I don't know if the story's gonna be good.
I seen one person that's playing the game. They said they're getting the same feeling they had when they play Last of Us for the first time. So
I saw somebody
take that with a grain of salt.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to take that.
Take that with a grain of salt.
That's good.
I mean, if that's the case, that's amazing. But we're gonna take that with a grain of salt because we really don't know. Things I didn't like that I see so far is the AI is a little iffy. Like you shooting a shotgun, they just standing right there looking at you while you just blast them motherfuckers. So that's a little iffy. I don't like that the guns magnetically stick to your back. This ain't 2001 or last gen or none of that. Put some straps on the fucking guns, Ben Studios. Like that shit that throws me off. That shit is jarring. Like, nah, I'm good on that.
Shit like that I noticed for like a moment and then I'm back to the game.
Yeah, it's gonna bother me the whole time.
I got the special edition. I picked up the gold, the toy.
Yeah, so that's about it though. But it's day one for me. Definitely. So Drew, you the only one that ain't getting the day one. Cycle, you getting the day one?
Yeah. I get all the exclusives day one.
Yeah, we still know who you are. Don't try to
You know that's where he was going with it too.
Who am I?
You're an Xbox fanboy. You already know. The fuck? I don't know why you keep denying this shit, Cycle.
Ain't nobody denying shit.
No, that's not one person that believes that.
I'm just telling y'all the truth. I'm
Yo,
just telling y'all the truth.
anybody else in here had dinner with what is it, Aaron Greenberg?
I don't like letting niggas wine and dine me, man.
Oh man.
Well, you went to dinner with the executive?
Didn't mind.
Yeah, he went to dinner with another fanboy, dog. He had dinner with another fanboy.
Did you ever go?
I don't feel like he gave you that Xbox for free. You had to do something.
It's tripping, man.
Yo, Psycho, did you ever go on dinner with like Mark Cerny, Shuhei Yoshida, anybody?
Come on, man.
Answer the question.
Don't go with Phil Spencer. They're gonna be licking his lips the whole time.
Biting his tongue, biting his lips and shit.
Go ahead, get it off, man. Go ahead, man. What else? What else? Goddamn it!
No, you good.
Hey, Cycle, how did he ask you for that date though? Like, how did that come about?
I ain't going on a date with nobody, man. I don't know what y'all talking about, man.
All right.
Looking pretty good today.
Yo, shout out to V keeps it low key. He said, yo, shout out to AGS in the chat. Happy zombie worshiping. I'm pretty sure The Walking Dead doesn't come on today, but whatever. Oh, and shout out to Demon Ralph. I see he 2 for 41.
What on that record, yo?
You dig? So but yeah, let's just move on and shit. So what do y'all think about what is it, Notre Dame? Whatever.
Notre Dame.
What do y'all think about this shit? Like,
I've seen some people go like get kind of pissed off because like, you know, we got all of our celebrities that make, you know, billions of dollars or whatever the fuck. And they're so quick to like throw money towards that, but they won't help out with things like the water in Flint, Michigan.
Flint, yeah.
So
churches burning in the South.
Yeah, and let's be honest. The Catholic Church is like $1 billion fucking
organization.
Yeah, so
why
like
would they help out though?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why do they need to help out? I mean, they got money and shit.
I'm kind of torn because on one hand, this is a building that's been standing for like 850 years, something like that. Right. So it's a part of human history at this point, not just religious history. It's human history.
It's a part of Black history.
But let me finish. On the other hand, 3 Black churches were burned down within a few weeks, and nobody knows about it.
By a cop's son.
That got no media attention.
A white guy.
You know what? Those celebrities are. You guys got to look at it like this. Those celebrities are doing what they're supposed to do. It's like a mafia, right? You know. So the Catholic Church has been like the Illuminati for like God knows how many years, right? And you're talking about Hollywood coming in and saying, "Oh yeah, well let's go ahead and go to our cathedrals and rebuild Notre Dame," right? God knows how many blood sacrifices have been there at night. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real.
Oh shit!
Like it's based off of what you really care about. You know, like if you a person who cares about certain things that happen in the Black community, or just people in general, humanity in general, you're more prone to help everyone or that particular cause. But if you're a person where it's just Catholic Church or it's just LGBT with Q sandwich, whatever it is, you're gonna be more inclined to help people that relate to you more than just trying to help everybody.
And on top of that, they clout chasing. We just got you talking about that.
Yeah, there's clout chasing going on around here.
Clout chasing.
Clout chasing is at an all-time high right now.
You definitely used it after promo.
Hold on. Somebody at a veterinarian.
Wait. Not my dog. That is not my dog. That is not my dog. Pay attention to the
somebody at the vet. Hold on.
Who else got a dog? It's not me.
In the hood.
What's up?
Somebody's named Kratos.
No, that's my cat's name's Kratos.
Your cat named Kratos, which means
cat
I'm saying that's none of my pets.
No, that's my mom's dog, y'all. My bad.
Exactly.
Always ravish.
Yeah, we have an Easter dinner, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Always ravish.
Little tuna. Yeah. It's a little dog. Karen Terrier. All right, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh man.
They're clout chasing. A lot of these
celebrities, a lot of clout chasing nowadays.
They want to look good. Like, I mean, I saw
politician
talking about it. You might hear Kevin Hart saying, "I'm donating $2 million."
But to be fair, like in the Flint, Michigan,
we know about that.
We had a lot of celebrities clout chasing there too that didn't really go and stay there for the long run to really be there for the pipe system.
I sent a box of bottled water. That's enough.
Even Obama was like, he just did a photo up there and was like, "I'm gonna drink this water. It's good." That the water is
shit
still
was the
toxic.
funniest shit I've ever seen.
There we go. Drink the water.
He barely touched that water. He's like,
I saw that.
Did
I
y'all
was
see that?
like, are you serious?
Did y'all see Obama drink that shit? He's like,
I don't think he actually drank it. I think he's
What the fuck did he drink it for? What are you trying to prove?
that the water was clean, but it's toxic.
That's it. It tastes good.
Wasn't that shit brown? Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty bad when the president at the
They have
time
to
was
be
looking at the
trolling.
water and he didn't want to drink it.
Did you see when the reporter asked him, "Did you drink it?" I'll drink it. What about it? Get him the fuck out of here.
Oh shit! That's crazy as hell.
Hey, shout out to Sauce Curry TV. He said it's different countries. The French celebrities paid for that, not USA celebrities.
There's gonna be something to jump out the window. There's gonna be something.
There's so much clout chasing going on around here.
SJW points, man.
They got to. It's too much clout chasing going on around here. The shit is at all-time high, man. It's a lot of clout chasing. But
that's so blow dry in their hair.
Ravish got that old mic.
No, I'm good. I'm good over here.
It's a good day. Ravish got a workshop over here.
I'm good.
Got a sweatshop.
I'm good.
That's funny.
If that is true, though, that it's just celebrities within the region, then I'm not gonna lie. I feel like a lot of black folk online shouldn't be complaining because that's like their in-house situation. They handling it.
Right. If it was like Kevin Hart, I'd be like, go complain.
Come on, nigga.
If it was like Kevin Hart, I would be hot because I didn't see him say anything about those black churches.
There you go.
Right.
For real, bro. I got a problem with Kevin Hart. I want my time back for that.
Yo, fuck Kevin Hart. That nigga is not funny. That nigga is not funny, dog.
Garbage.
That nigga is not funny.
I got a question.
I've been saying this. That man is not funny, dog.
That shit was
He
All he talks about how short he is, his fucking kids,
family and friends. That's it.
all he
That's
does,
why
man.
only his first two stand-ups were funny because after that it's all
Nigga's not
recycled
funny
jokes.
to me.
And I think he sanitized himself too. It's like what we were talking about censorship. Like,
he does.
censor yourself.
Yeah, he don't never want to talk about nothing.
And they was
real.
laughing about that
Right.
whack ass
Yeah.
shit, man. Like,
You have to be real about it because, like, one thing that we watch about Kevin Hart, and it's like what she said, it's like it's the censorship. Like, don't get me wrong, we know our cultures are like inherently more sensitive bastards online, right? But the comedian must not be afraid. They have to put it out there. Kevin Hart, I knew it was done when he was braiding Will Ferrell's hair. I said,
oh wow,
he's done.
Wow.
What? He was braiding who's hair?
What?
You talking about on that movie? What is it called? Where he get the white boy get locked up and
See, y'all fucking up by watching Kevin Hart movies already.
See,
Paper Soldiers is fucking hilarious.
No, that movie was
It's
funny.
a classic.
Paper Soldiers is hilarious, but that's when he was in raw form. Now he don't talk about nothing political. He don't talk about current events.
Chris Rock too. We gotta be honest, not as bad as Kevin Hart though, but
Chris Rock
is
Yeah.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. Yeah.
Look,
No.
I'm a co-sign that.
When you let Bill Burr sit in front of you, call you a nigger, like come on,
right?
Yeah, he's playing
Yeah,
himself.
that's some hoe shit. Yeah.
would have roasted him and at least funny.
Yeah, where was the bigger and blacker Chris Rock?
Hey,
Right? Where's that?
Yeah.
nigga at?
Where's the Chris Rock with the Jerry curls?
You don't need.
quick thing, real quick.
Pookie.
Do y'all watch Joe Rogan's podcast?
Yeah,
really.
sometimes.
Here and there.
Watch Kevin Hart on there. He's gonna tell you exactly why he doesn't do all the things that y'all saying he doing.
I just watched it.
Why don't you just explain it to us?
I'm a little buzzed right now, but I can't go into details. I'm a little buzzed right now.
All right, well, tell us what you can.
But I had a chance to watch it, and Sin said, "Will you turn that shit off, nigga?"
I wasn't interested in Kevin Hart. I'm like, turn that shit off.
I was like, "Well, hold on now. We got two computers. You stay over there. I'm over here."
Kevin Hart from Philly too, man, and I can't rock with this nigga nowadays, man.
You got one good joke.
He's not funny, though.
You know what it is? I think he knows that he's chosen, and he wants to stay that. Right?
Yeah, because remember he said he would never dress up like a girl, and then he did on Saturday Night Live.
He was on Saturday Night Live dressed up. He was making fun of that little black girl.
I'm a grown little man, and seriously funny. Them joints are funny as hell.
Those are the only funniest stand-ups.
Laugh at My Pain is funny too.
If you guys look at like Bill Burr and Eddie Griffin, they're still funny because they don't give a fuck what other people say.
I love Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin is funny.
Eddie Griffin, yeah, that motherfucker funny as hell.
Have allowed
especially when he was making fun of Michael Jackson.
Wait,
one at a time, people. One at a time.
Yeah, she was saying something. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead,
sister. I was just saying that the social, some comedians have allowed the social justice warriors to fuck them up, which is why they're like not funny.
You
right
allowed the
now. Like,
audience to bully you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we watched the Tambourine special with Chris Rock. Sitting there, I was like, oh shit, that was actually pretty decent. It's better than the other. What was it? Kill the Messenger was trash, right? But we saw the Tambourine. And then we was like, okay, that's what's up. Then Bill Burr calls him a nigger. I mean, not Bill Burr, but the other white boy, Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. Yeah,
white Mexican.
Yeah, white Mexican.
There we go.
Did y'all see the Cat Williams stand up from New Year's 2012? I was just watching it on Netflix.
Which one was the name of it?
Let me look it up right here.
Is it good?
Wait, Candace, did you see the most
funny as hell?
Wait, Candace, did you see the most recent one?
The last one was funny as hell.
Where he's making fun of Trump and shit. That was
no, I haven't seen the most recent one. He was still talking about Obama, and it was like he had his funny moments. Like it was funny, but he also had some moments where I was just like towards the end, I was just kind of staring. Like,
wait, Melon, which one are you talking about?
His most recent one.
All the Cat Williams shit is funny.
Where he's making fun of Trump and shit. Yeah, hold on.
I need to watch that one because making fun of Trump is gold.
If you talking about his pimping, is you talking about that one?
I don't think I'm talking about pimping.
You talking about the one where his hair was shaped like one?
When he got the like.
Oh, you talking about Cat Apocalypse?
Yeah, that one.
Hey, Drew, I'm talking about Cat Williams' Great America.
Yeah, that's funny.
Is Great America on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh,
that shit funny as fuck.
I'm watching that shit today.
Yeah, that shit hilarious. Hey, yo, shout outs to Tony Wood 25. He said Hard 8 right about Sony effing up, especially with God of War. I'm smashing through creatures and got to hear Uncle Phil doing the Kratos voiceover.
Uncle Phil did Shredder.
Yeah.
Cat Williams, that's one of my favorite comedians. He's fucking hilarious. But
they've gotten lazy. Somebody brought up that, you know, what's really helped kill comedy, especially by way of the left, is that they've just really relied on making fun of Trump. And I'm not trying to be funny. It's like, okay, we get it, but can we move on to some other stuff, right? Do something different. And I think they've gotten lazy. And then when we look at somebody like Chris Rock, it's like Sin said, we got to keep it real. A lot of these guys have gotten just comfortable. You know, they're no longer uncomfortable. You know, some of our greatest comedians are uncomfortable. Dave Chappelle is still funny because to some degree, he says inherently he's uncomfortable. And I think a lot of these guys, they've gotten comfortable. I mean, you comfortable enough to let Louis C.K. call you a nigger. And you know what I'm saying? You didn't roast.
Wait, let me ask you something. How do y'all feel? Oh, never mind.
They get comfortable, and also they're not experiencing the same things they used to experience when it was
hungry. Yeah, when it was
hungry.
hungry.
I like Corey Holcomb too. That motherfucker.
Oh, Corey Holcomb.
Y'all think Tiffany Haddish is funny?
That motherfucker be making me cry laughing.
Corey Holcomb don't
Jesus.
Corey Holcomb's funny because Corey Holcomb. But Corey Holcomb is funny because they kind of low key kind of blackballed him. But going back to what Drew just said about Tiffany Haddish,
I don't think she's funny.
Kevin Hart is chosen, and so is she. So they're under the same. They're basically one and the same. So you know,
I don't know, man.
She's just kind of ratchet. That's it. I don't think she's funny.
To me, she's not that funny. Like my coworker was sitting in my office last week watching her, and he's dying laughing. So he's trying to show
listen. She's not funny to listen. She's not funny to us because we've already been there, done that. White people love laughing at us and not with us, and that's what Tiffany Haddish. They love her ratchetness, her ghetto. She reinforces stereotypes. This is true.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why I always felt uncomfortable with Chris Rock because I felt like white people were laughing at him, not with him.
Well, and all
that nigga's hilarious.
Hold on, let the white guy speak. Hold on.
It's not because she's like ratchet and all that. It's just because she just ain't funny. Because we've seen people who are ratchet, but you know they made us laugh. It's just for her. It's forced.
Well, can we talk about that though? Like Tiffany Haddish, we gotta keep in mind, even though she's popped in the era of the millennials, she's not a millennial. Like she's actually doing
Generation X,
stereotypical Gen X comedy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I liken her to the inverse of like, you know, Gary Owens. Like he does that trope white guy shit.
Right, he does the black church humor, white guy.
Like, the shit that's predictable.
And
that's what works with Tiffany Haddish. Like I agree. Like for us at this point in time, like we're more interested in other shit, you know what I'm saying? But there's a segment of the general public, they love her shit, you know what I'm saying? They are riding on the Will Packer crowd.
Yeah, the same thing with Medea. I mean, white folks love a big black man in a dress.
Man, her movies are trash.
Look, back in the day, we were okay with the grandmama, Larry Johnson, but now it's like, are we still doing this? Like, is it really, you know what I mean? Like it to me.
Old.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to kill Medea for a long time, and Lionsgate is no slave.
I feel like Medea just spreads black stereotypes that, like, on one hand, are a little bit funny to us, But on the other hand, I got people asking me, "Is it really like that in black churches? Is it really like that?" I'm gonna need you to leave me alone and keep the questions to yourself. To be honest,
you're right about that. It's because he made like 20 films with the same character, like 1, 2, 3. All right, that would have been all right.
And they are all profitable.
Right.
I don't watch none of those fucking movies.
He'd be hella suspect for doing all of that shit.
But he came through that church route though. We got to keep
He
in
did.
mind.
He did.
He got balls on his
You're right. Yeah, he went. It was a play, a church play. Yeah,
he started out doing plays, right?
He was homeless. He was homeless at one point. So
I remember being a little boy, seeing the old black women pass around them obituary DVD covers.
Word. Like I remember going to the plays at these like bootleg churches and then getting the DVDs and having my cousin do my hair watching that shit. I remember all that.
He got them movie deals, and I was like, damn.
That man, he living good now.
Yeah, man, can't knock the hustle. But is that it? Like, can we get more? You know what I mean? Where's the alternative at? So,
yo, we need Boondocks to come back, right? Everybody agree we need Boondocks.
I love the movie. That was a great show.
Oh my god!
I never even watched. I tried to watch it.
I only watched a couple episodes.
Yo, that show.
Goku was a fucking coon.
I couldn't get into that shit.
No shit. That's his character.
No, I know. It's just that shit was hilarious.
That shit was so funny.
Yo, that
he looked
show
ugly
was
as
so
fuck.
goddamn funny, bro.
That big ass eye.
The anime parts were lit too.
What's his name? John Witherspoon. He got up there, like he got Shade 4-5, I think, in an interview, like explained why that they couldn't progress with the show. Had something to do with like the producer and Sony or something like that.
Well, actually, I know this is some cheap shit, but to plug our channel, if y'all go to our channel, we interviewed the brother Carl Jones, who was the producer of the show as well, and he confirmed what really took place, and they kind of deboed Aaron McGruder in the context of everything and why it ended, and then there was some internal conflicts amongst the brothers like Reginald Hutland, of course, Aaron McGruder, and then there was Carl Jones. That, like, those three brothers actually kind of had like a beef that happened too. So it was like internal problems. Then of course the corporation was like, give us this shit. And then that's why season 4 was like really terrible. Kind of like what they did to Dave Chappelle with the 3rd season.
That season was horrible.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Damn, bro. Horrible.
That season was depressing.
No, you know, man, he should have just brought in some good writers, man. He could have brought in the Wayans brothers, Keenan and Damon or something. That's what it was. It was in living color.
I'm sorry, but the Wayans brothers are one of the most overrated fucking fans.
Yes.
They're overrated. Yo, Marlon Wayans need to stop making movies.
I'm not talking about Marlon and Sean. I'm not talking about Marlon and Sean.
I'm talking about I know Damon is funny.
Yeah,
Keenan with like he's playing a soldier or a captain, and he's that movie is so funny.
Listen, I'm in agreement with the films, but In Living Color was classic. I don't care what anybody says.
No, try to watch In Living Color now. That shit's garbage.
I'll watch it now. That shit's great. That shit is great.
That shit is funny, Artie.
That shit is great. You tripping?
Nah, you tripping.
That shit ain't funny no more, dog.
Classic.
Nah, when it was roasting like Tyson, that shit was hilarious.
That shit ain't funny no more.
That shit is fucking hilarious.
I'm gonna need you to fall back.
Fire Marshal Bill.
They overrated, dog.
So I got
Wanda.
So you didn't like the Wayans Brothers show?
Wait, hold on. Wait, go ahead, Solomon.
Yeah, no, I had a question for the brother that he was like, yo, like the Wayans brothers, they trash, son, like on some URL battle and shit. I'm really curious because I want to know the mindset. Like, so what for you? What was it that you felt they were overrated in? I'm just very curious.
I think Damon is funny. Like my wife and kids and all the shit he did, he's funny.
Okay.
But like the Wayans brothers, that shit is it's okay. It wasn't nothing special.
But so is it Marlon for you? Is it?
I like that more than my wife and kids.
Then you got movies like I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and
classic.
I mean, it's
classic.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
We gotta see super cuts.
Like I used to like this shit when I was younger, but now I can't really get down.
Oh, I get it. So it's more of like it's not funny to you when you go back and look at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When you go back and look at In Living Color, it don't. I'm like, this shit ain't funny like I remember.
I got
you know what I mean?
That's how I feel about Fresh Prince.
You didn't like drinking.
No, you're wild. Don't even talk about Fresh Prince.
No, that's how I feel about Fresh Prince.
You're bugging out. It's still funny to this day.
Nah.
I was
You're
never
wild.
a Fresh Prince fan either. So
I think Fresh Prince is funny, but I don't think
That
it's
shit-
Not
that-
funny anymore. It's not that
It was funny
anymore.
because
No,
my
Wilder.
little brother used to
Watched it,
love
laugh.
that show. I did not like that
Martin
shit.
Martin is still funny today. That shit.
Martin-
Yeah,
Martin-
that shit is still funny
Martin
today.
is Martin is
classic.
far more funnier than Fresh Prince, but Fresh
Oh,
Prince
yeah,
is
that's-
not-
yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know
but
about
Fresh
that.
Prince
I
is
don't
still
know.
funny though. I could sit there and watch Fresh
Martin
Prince.
is way more funnier than Fresh Prince. You is
Because
crazy.
I watched Fresh Prince
I
first.
just
That's
said that
why.
Martin's
Before I
funnier.
was got into
No, I'm
Martin.
talking
Weren't
to
they
fucking
on air
truth.
at the same time? Like,
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were there at the same time. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Do
just
you
a
all
different.
do you think it's a situation because like you know what the homie said about Martin? I love Martin. You know, Sid and I we love Martin, but I think like when we're talking about the Fresh Prince humor and we're talking about the Wayne's brother humor, can we really be honest with ourselves? With people like Tiffany Haddish, Rail, they're doing their best.
Rail got
impersonations
canceled.
of it.
Rail
Right.
got
Yeah.
canceled.
Right.
Right, like, yeah, 'cause, like
maybe that's why it's not funny.
Rail
Because
was
they're-
trash.
really
They're
bad.
trying.
Rail was like a really bad remix of a lot of shows from the 90s.
Right, they're just trying too hard to recapture something that's already been done. Like,
Yeah,
move
trying
on.
to play other characters, but it wasn't like. No, nigga, stop.
We got 3 super chats.
Oh shit. Yeah, Rail got canceled. If anybody didn't know, that shit was trash.
It was straight up.
All right,
Yeah, that
shout
Martin
out
security
to
guards.
Gamer Lives Matter. He said if we can sign a petition to get Black Bond out of the PC community, why can't we get a petition going to get Welcome Matt of AGS? He brings nothing.
Man, leave Melon alone, man.
They got beef. Shout out to Tony Wood 25. He said Central Intelligence and The Wedding Ringer were cool date flicks. It's very difficult to drop hit after hit. Yes, the brilliance of Chappelle, Pryor, Murphy, Bernie, Rock, Mac, and DL Hughley. I felt like he wanted to finish, but he didn't. And we got Tony Wood 25. He said, meant to say Cat Williams. Mac listed twice. All right.
Mhm,
I
okay.
like Ride Along too. I like that.
Central Intelligence.
What?
Trash.
The first one.
No.
I liked it.
No,
Ride Along?
Wedding Ringer was okay.
Right along with Kevin Hart and fucking.
I didn't even bother to watch
Kevin
that.
Hart got the easiest
Yo,
job
he
in
don't-
Hollywood.
Yo,
all he
the
got to
motherfucker can't
do,
carry a movie by
Let's be
himself.
himself.
all he got to do is be himself.
He
No,
can't
the
carry a
hardest
movie.
thing. No, the hardest thing he does is remembering lines. He has the easiest job in Hollywood, yo, because he does not embody no character. He's the same person in every movie.
Every film. Yeah.
Like, and he can't, and they don't let him carry nothing by himself either. He always got to have
He's a
Somebody
sidekick.
with him.
sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody-
he can't carry anything by himself.
When he came out in that movie, The Upside, he was like, "Oh, this is gonna be me being my dramatic self." I'm like, "Nigga, you the exact same person."
Right.
I ain't even seen that shit yet.
He was with Brian Cranston, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
Not the
sidekick
middle
in
jack.
every. He don't get his own movie. I mean, he got Soul Plane, but other than
Oh,
that,
that was horrible.
So
Soul
Soul
Plane.
Plane is hard.
That was
I'm surprised he
horrible.
still. I'm surprised he survived after Soul Plane.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a career-ending type of movie.
Yeah.
That was-
Soul Plane was a lot of guilt trip pleasure for a lot of niggas. It was a nigga fest film. You know, that's what it was. They would joke about it, but they watched it. They were like, you watched it, nigga.
Well, how do y'all feel about the news about Friends basically stealing living?
Living single? Yeah.
How did y'all feel about that?
It was
I've
obvious.
never
Wait,
heard that
what?
before, and I love living
Friends.
single.
About the movie Friends. I mean, the show Friends.
Yeah, Friends was basically a black, like a
Ravish,
white.
your mic is loud as fuck.
Christ, Ravish.
My bad. No,
Take the mic out of your throat, my nigga.
Hey,
God damn.
yo, you the only nigga deep throating, my nigga. Sony and Notre.
whoa.
Anyway,
Oh,
that's what I
wow.
was saying.
I
Yeah,
wasn't ready for that one.
Friends was basically a whitewashed living single for sure.
Yo, shout outs to Alchemist Star. He said Fresh Prince was very current for his time, and so it falls flat sometimes nowadays. But Martin spoke to black culture as a whole, so it's still relevant.
I agree with
Right.
that. I agree with that.
That's a great
That
assessment.
melanin, that triple melanin statement.
Yo, now that
His
you
acting
said
was
that,
definitely on
Friends
point.
absolutely is a white fucking living single.
Yeah, it's
Like,
always
how do
been.
you do- that's crazy. I never put 2 and 2 together before now.
They were just a sluttier version of living single because they were all fucking each other.
Cucumber sandwiches.
Yeah, my girl loves Friends. She watched Friends 100 million times. She watches it every day. So
I used to watch it when it was coming on, but I'll watch a living single rerun
I
to
never
this
watched that
day.
shit.
Right.
Not one single episode.
Even
Friends?
their
What, living single?
Friends.
Friends
Oh,
is
I was
pretty
gonna
funny
say.
at times. Friends
No, I
got
done
some
seen
funny
a
moments.
few episodes. I ain't
Friends was
really-
hilarious.
Matter of
back
fact,
in
I
the
have
day.
watched it. What am
I never
talking
did hop
about?
on
Go
it
ahead.
though. Like
Friends.
Yeah. I couldn't watch it because if I was watching.
Holy shit!
Is it that loud?
Yeah, what's wrong with your mic, Ravish?
Yeah, I'm like 2 feet away. Hold on, let me turn. Wait,
Damn.
let me turn it all the way down.
Gain all the way up.
I turned it down. Let me turn it down. I couldn't watch it because it wasn't one nigga in New York City during Friends.
You mean in their friend group?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't show about
They didn't have no black friends.
There was no black people in New York City if you was watching
They had
Friends.
2 at the last season.
What was
like,
it? Aisha?
the last
Damn, the last season? How long was that shit on air?
Just like
What was besides the greatest black sitcom ever, besides the best sitcom ever, period, Martin, what are some of y'all other black
sitcoms? What's it called? The one about college life, the spinoff.
You don't even know the name of it, so you ain't like.
Because
what was? Oh,
no, because it's been a long time.
Different World.
Different World.
Yeah, that's
I loved that show back in the day.
Different Strokes.
I like
Different World.
Which show was it that Tupac came on? It was it that?
Yeah, it was Different World.
Yeah, it was that, right? Yeah,
it was Different World.
Piccolo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Different World was lit back in the day.
I like the
loved
Jamie
it.
Foxx show. That's one of my favorites.
Jamie
shows.
Foxx was actually funny.
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx show was funny.
Jamie Foxx show was lit.
Got Braxton in there. That shit was
Braxton Hart in the Brig. That shit was funny. I like Malcolm and Eddie. That was pretty funny.
Oh snap! Living Single was on Hulu.
Of course, Living Single on Hulu. Of course, Family Matters. You know that was shit.
Family Matters is
classic.
a classic. Who didn't grow up watching that? Well, these youngins, but still.
Whoa.
So yeah, I mean, Wayne's Brothers was okay, but I don't know.
Mac show. What do you think? I thought about the Bernie Mac show.
I'm not gonna lie.
Bernie Mac show is one of my
Bernie Mac
favorites.
show. Funny.
I didn't really watch the Bernie Mac show because I wasn't really watching TV at that time. I was just.
You gotta watch the Bernie Mac show. That shit's
Someone
hilarious.
said that's so Raven.
No. Stop it.
Hey, you know what's crazy about it? The nigga that was rapping on the opening. Hey, Raven, yo, get your game on.
That shit is horrible.
All day. The Keenan and Kel show was hilarious.
Yeah. Shout out to Mbendai HD.
Yeah.
Ravish and throw that bodega mic in the trash.
Hey man, and I think it's the PC. I'm gonna change up the computer next app.
I remember Keenan and Kel show. That was good.
Keenan and Kel.
You like
Keenan and Kel? Nah,
That was a
fam.
good show.
Nah,
What?
fam.
That was hilarious.
That show was blackish.
That kind of nah. My Wife and Kids is funny. Everybody Hates Chris is funny.
Yeah, it definitely is. Everybody.
I would say I had to agree. I wasn't really up on Keenan and Kel. I did watch Good Burger. It had moments to me, but I wasn't like no big Keenan and Kel fan.
See, I started watching all that. Like I was a Nickelodeon fan back in the day. So back when it was good, the original cast, and so when Keenan and Kel got their own show, I started watching that too.
That remind me of Steve Harvey. I almost forgot he had a show.
Steve Harvey.
Oh yeah, Steve
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey show.
It was alright.
It's cool.
Bernie Mac show was pretty funny.
He did look like he had a wig.
That wig piece. Steve Harvey wore a wig piece.
He was wearing a wig for
He
sure.
was wearing a wig.
Yo,
he was wearing a wig.
Hold on, y'all say Steve Harvey was wearing a wig?
Yeah, you didn't know.
Hold on.
A
Is this
fucking
proven?
wig.
Yeah.
He's amazed right now. He's like, wait a
Lineup.
minute.
Nobody's lineup is that perfect.
Yo,
Right.
was
Come on
that
now.
proven?
He was wearing a lace front.
He was bald.
That wasn't
He was
Even rap niggas, they were touching on it, but they didn't know what they were touching. It was like keep a Steve Harvey line in, edgy. It was the shit was fake. In fact, somebody brought up Corey Holcomb. Corey Holcomb talked about it.
Yeah.
Frankenstein project. Like he literally makes everybody leaves the barbershop. Everybody gets the goop out and they plaque that shit on his head.
Not anymore now. He's bald now. But back in the day,
Back in it, that was a wig piece.
Wait,
No, that nigga had the sharpest cut in the no.
Yeah, that was
the
wig, my nigga.
Nah, dog. I don't.
It's a
Was
wig.
this proved? Was this confirmed?
No, this is fact. Hey, wait, man, prove it.
All right. I'll tell you that it's to confirm. Hey, player, I want you to do something real quick. All right, when you get a chance, just when we're done here, go back and look at old Steve Harvey comedy videos. When he's like standing up and he leans forward, there's a big ass Homer Simpson bald spot at the top of that haircut. Right?
No.
Damn.
Nah,
Yeah,
man, that nigga
no,
had
but
the
yeah.
sharpest cut in the game. Nah, player.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What was it like? Lord Cross pointy titties at the top of his head.
Steve Harvey out here with the fake hair.
Yo, that John,
and that weave.
Yo, that John stays sharp, dog.
No,
like for
Weave
real.
starting to become more popular too.
Yeah, ask Lil Wayne.
I didn't know that was a thing till I saw a video on Twitter. I was so shocked.
Yeah, the man weave is on the come up.
I know niggas getting their beards put on and all that.
Nah, people getting like
fake waves, fake waves.
like bald dudes getting waves. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Look, this
I mean,
dude-
shit, women do it. They got fake everything, so why
This
not?
dude
men?
stopped me and was like, "Hey man, what you putting? Who did your beard? What you putting in your beard?" I'm like, "Dude, I didn't. What you mean?" He was like, "Oh, that's your shit." I was like,
Didn't Omarion
Yeah.
try to go far with that beard weave? Remember,
Oh, yeah.
remember Omarion tried that shit and they clowned his
beard
ass?
weave?
Yeah, you got beard weave out there, man.
Yeah, they got beard weave. Yeah,
man.
But you know, it started with that painting on hairline shit.
Yeah, that was
Beijing.
Oh man, I still see that shit. Yeah.
Yo, I mean, women do it. Why can't men?
Yo, but I get hurt when people got fake dreads because dreads are an investment. So I feel like
Dreads
you frauding out here.
Now when you look at
Nah, you keep it right. You gotta take care of it.
Yo, dreads.
Yo, man, who
Who
wears
smell like dead bodies up in that motherfucker.
You hanging out with homeless people with dreads, I see.
and you know they ain't real because when the niggas shake their head, they don't move.
Candace, you got dreads, Candace?
I do, thank you.
Oh,
She
yeah,
got
them joints
dreads.
stink. They stink.
No, you gotta take care of my
But
dreads.
Candace, but wait, like I just never got like how my brothers in Miami can have all them dreads in that humidity. I never
I'm telling you, it's hot. My dreads used to be like basically to my butt crack, and in the summer that shit is hot.
Damn, them joints
Hot.
stink like
dreads.
shit.
Yeah.
I did a Jamaican girl for a couple of years.
Oh yeah. Fetty Wap was another nigga, a Captain One Eye Hook pirate. He was like, you know, he came out with he came out with them dreads and he tried to play niggas. He had a loaf Caesar, and then all of a sudden the next single, this shit was hanging down.
The next
Hold
day.
on. Demon Ralph, you said you dated a Jamaican?
For like 3 years, she had dreads. They didn't really stink, but sometimes.
Nah.
Sometimes I don't know, man.
Nah, dreads is not the business.
Hey, yo, shout outs to Tony Wood 25. He said Will Smith was average at comedy, but Pursuit of Happiness, I Am Legend, and I Robot grants him a pass. The Hugh Hughes and B-Max show were underrated.
I just watched I Am Legend yesterday.
For the first time?
Wow. For the first time.
What'd you think?
Fire. What you thought?
It was actually good. It was good. I was mad at that chick who showed up in his
How did you
house.
like the ending?
Yeah, which ending did you watch?
She watched it on Netflix.
There's multiple endings.
Yeah, there is.
Alternate ending. They got an alternate ending.
It's way better than
It makes a lot more sense.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like the ending that I saw.
Yeah.
You
Just
like
because
that?
I
Watch
didn't
the
like
alternate
that
one.
chick
It's way
that showed
better.
up, and I was like, "What?" I just thought it was dumb. God told me to be here, but I don't know. I don't know.
They
What
said what was the meme they had? Like he survived all that time, and then as soon as a woman showed up, shit went to
it was just
shit.
She went the hell
how
in the handbasket.
he's saving this bacon, and she just show up in his house,
And fucked it
My
all
thing
up.
was, how did she know where he lived?
right? Like, how
remember
did
when
she know?
Remember, he was knocked out when
Yeah,
she
he
took
was
him home.
knocked
But he
out.
told
He kept
her
coming back though. He kept coming back, and he told her.
he was in and out.
What? Because he was
Yeah, he
like,
told her-
recently watched
Yeah, he did.
No,
tell her.
because
He
remember
told
he
her
was
in the
like, was
car.
it daylight when you brought us home?
Nah, he passed
But
out in the car
that's-
and told her.
He was in and out though. He mumbled it to her.
Yeah,
But he
kept
didn't even
asking.
know. He didn't even know it was nighttime or daytime when she brought him home.
No.
And that's when she
Watch it
fucked
again.
up.
Watch it again.
I don't know. I mean,
we
I
just
heard-
watched it recently. He kept going in and out, and she asked where does he live, and he said it or something like that.
God damn it.
Well, she
Yeah,
could've
there
been
is an alternate ending, and the alternate ending is better, but whatever. I like the movie though; it's my shit. Yeah. What the fuck we was talking about? Oh yeah, I had a question for y'all. Just wanted to throw this out. This is one of them tough questions that you might need to think about before you answer, or you might think it's crazy when you hear it, but it's one of those questions that we come up with. So we all, besides Demon Rock, we all black in here or whatever like that. Are y'all like proud to be black? Like, are you black and proud?
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, there's a lot of dope things about black culture, you know, jazz, rock and roll, hip hop, except for some of the shit right now. But overall, there's a lot of dope shit.
Because when I was younger, I wanted to be white. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I was not black and proud.
Right.
Well, it ain't too bad. It ain't too bad.
Like, because and the reason why is because all the white people I knew, they seemed to have way better lives than I did.
Yeah.
Oh, so you talk about economically? It was
Just,
a factor.
yeah, like, I mean, just the way life could be.
See, for me, I never really, apparently, according to my grandmother, when I was really young, like a toddler, I asked her why I wasn't white. I have no recollection of that. But as far as me being aware of life, going to majority white schools, I've still been always really close to my family. So I've never had this, I wish I was white. I wished we were better off. But I didn't necessarily wish I was white, if you get me. Because I always, like, Black History Month, I love learning about all that stuff, seeing where we came from.
I mean, it's over. It was over before it started, really, because 28 days, we go quick.
Yeah. But, like, when you grow up in a Southern Baptist church, I mean, they make use of every single one of them days, so...
Yeah, for me, being half Black, I always thought I was raised by my mom in a Black neighborhood, and my mother's Black. She instilled in me that, you know, it was a good thing. And I had some good role models, like in my family, but as far as like the neighborhood and everything like that, I knew how to kind of adapt. But there was a lot of gangs and drugs and stuff like that. I never bothered with any of that stuff because I knew it was stupid. But at the same time, like as an adult, it made me a stronger person. Like there's not too much pressure I could feel. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a really strong dude, and you know I'm not worried about avoiding certain neighborhoods and not wearing blue and any dumb shit like that anymore. But I still know how to just carry myself. You know what I mean? And kind of stay out of certain situations, I guess. In business, I'm not talking about like in the street. I'm just like, wow, like now I really know how to kind of navigate and avoid shit. Like I know how to avoid Debo. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Man. Yeah.
But with y'all, like, is it like the cultural thing or more economic thing? Like, how do y'all view it? Like,
Hey, hold on. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Gamer Lives Matter says Steve Harvey got Hard 8 food like a GLM challenge to Kid Smooth. Shout out to the chat and the panel, except welcome Matt. Then we got one from Michael. He said, "Notice me, Melon Master." Damn. And then we got one from V Keeps It Low Key. Said, "Real talk, if I wasn't Black, I'd be mad."
Facts. Being Black is that's
I wouldn't be mad.
I don't think it's be you. Just be you, man. Like I feel like I'm fortunate that I didn't really experience any racism growing up. And I grew up in like white neighborhood. I grew up in the black in the hood of the hood. I didn't experience racism until I got in my 30s. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like I've been fortunate.
I got it from Hispanic people.
It's different for me because I'm light skinned. So even when I was all right, fuck it. Y'all laughing, but for me, I went to college and stuff like that. I actually have a career. But even though,
niggas don't have a career.
DC, you hanging yourself.
No, I'm light skinned. I'm not co-signing what you're saying, though.
Listen. What I'm saying is,
career,
I was stunned by. Yo, shut the fuck up
with seashells.
All right, Rabbit, let him talk.
You're darker than me. You're not shit. Okay.
All right, relax, Rabbit.
I'm mad about the dick sucking on the mic in the throat. Chill out, bro.
You mad?
Ravish, your mic is kind of fucking up right now.
I think it's the computer, man. My bad, man.
Go ahead, Dark Cloud. Go ahead.
No, so what I'm saying is that basically where I grew up at, even though I was still hanging around dark people, I was picked on a lot.
Dark.
Oh, okay. So he mad.
I just said I'm light skinned. I said I'm light skinned, but niggas,
you're a mulatto supremacist.
Again. Let me finish.
All right, man.
God damn. Like I'm saying, like I was picked on a lot. Because a lot of things I did, people were like, "Nigga, you're light skinned, so you don't really go through these type of problems." But now later on in my actual career life, like I see that shit all the time, where it's like people like things that I would do within the company that would benefit the rest, they would take away that and give that to a white person.
Yep.
So I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to see that shit more now, growing up. So do I love being Black? Yes, I love being Black, but because I'm light skinned, it's like a pick and choose type of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm Black and I'm proud, but then it's like, fuck. If I was white, I wouldn't have to go through these fucking problems.
Dark Cloud, I got a question for you, man. I want to talk to you directly, man, because you brought up something on the flip side of colorism, which is true. You have inherently in our community. Well, you know, we all joke here, but let's be real, the ones who catch like a lot of the sore jokes are dark skinned women and light skinned men in our community. But dark skin, like I'm a dark cloud. Where with you, you personally. No, I'm serious, man.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I got some drinks in my hand. But anyway, so my question to you though, number one, where did you grow up? And two, how were you able to deal with all of that and the complexion type that you are? Are you like a Jesse Williams color? Because I'm a lighter complected brother.
Roasted peanut butter.
He had the barge.
She said roasted peanut butter. Hold on. First of all, he had blue hair, so let's throw that in there too. All right, going for that.
All right. He's half Italian. He's half linguine. So he's
We got mixed crime in here.
Yeah, hey, what's going on, baby? Over here.
I'm light skinned too, and I ain't have like them problems Dark Cloud had being light skinned.
Yeah, neither did I.
Light skin.
I'm light skinned too.
Okay, all right. Listen. So first of all, I was born and raised in Jamaica. So I was when it came to that, and anybody that's Jamaican knows that when you're light skinned, you're fucked with all the times.
I got
you. I heard
about so great living up in Jamaica. I was picked on all the time.
Being light in Jamaica was a good thing. That's why they
know it was not. It was people were jealous of you. Even till this day, people tell you that light skin. They would cut a light skinned nigga's face.
That's why they be bleaching their skin and all that shit over there.
Yeah, but that's the type of thing. And then when I came here, I lived in Brooklyn, Vanderveer. Okay. So when I was hanging out with a lot of people, it was like if I dropped, believe it or not, when I dropped the N-word, it's like, nigga, ain't you like half? You ain't allowed to say that.
Yeah, they was testing your gangster because I never had a problem using the N-word. Before I outgrew it, I was
talking about in Jamaica though.
No, he's talking about when he was in Brooklyn. Hey, when I was growing up in LA, like they knew I was the light-skinned dude with good hair, but I had hands. So I never had, nobody ever said, hey, why are you using that N-word? Why are you using the N-word? Hey, so I'd have been beating the body boy or something. Like I had hands, nigga. Anywhere. You put me in Jamaica, you can put me in Africa. I could whip the average man's ass quick. Right?
Black people.
All right, we know you tough. We get it.
All right, nigga.
Knock the fuck out.
Where? Wait, where? I've never been knocked out, nigga.
I said you don't have to be scared to get knocked the fuck out.
Well, maybe you speaking from experience, but I never took a nap.
Never that.
Never took a nap.
Hey man, Ravis, I'm trying to hop in that box.
Hey, I've never taken a nap ever.
Yeah, first time for everything.
As Black people, though, we do underestimate ourselves, and we do give everything to white people. It's like even when it comes to rock and roll, people think that's white, even though Rosetta Tharpe and Chuck Berry and a lot of people actually created that genre. Or people don't care, like how Granville T. Woods was a part of revolutionizing telecommunications along with white people to other groups of people as well. But I think we just underestimate ourselves and we give anything with intelligence just to white people.
Yeah, and it is kind of weird because and I don't, I don't know, what Dark Cloud actually looks like. The brother's just describing himself and to the point the brother said, I was light skinned. I didn't get that. And I think to me, like for me personally, I am a lighter complected individual, but I didn't face colorism like that when it came to like dudes roasting. Because when you grow up in Swats, Atlanta, it's just what it is. You either got it or you don't, right? But when we kind of get to the grand scheme of things, we got to be real with ourselves as like a lot of men. The culture of like the colorism jokes with men, black men online, particularly lighter skinned brothers, that's all changed under Drake. Like that, it dipped in like the 80s, it took a hiatus, and then it just came back up with the light skin jokes with Drake. And so now everybody's like, you acting light skin or light skin niggas a weak or you sensitive, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you know what? I've noticed like being light skinned has become more of a joke since Drake. You're right. But what I remember from growing up, majority white schools or majority white and Hispanic schools, they used to roast the hell out of super dark dudes. Like, I don't know, I'm like brown.
You call them African booty scratchers.
But like, you would disappear in the dark. Your eye is the only way people find you. So like,
midnight.
Both ends of the spectrum got it.
Hey, let me get to this super chat. V keeps it low key. Said, "Are any of you religious or care about the slaughter fest going on right now around the world? I see without religion, most humans would go mad."
What slaughter fest is he talking about?
What? Talking about Nigeria?
couple of churches got bombed Easter Sunday or whatever like that. I think like 200 people been murdered through these bombings.
Oh shit!
Oh, in India?
Yeah, Sri Lanka.
We'll get to that real quick. Sir Lloyd Black, I had the opposite effect of Dark Cloud. Used to get roasted on my dark skin, but I like being black. I was able to make nothing into something. And then we have Killer Blackfish. He said, "Hey, what's up, Hard8? I know this is off topic, but whatever happened to Miss Vixen Nikki? She needs to be a guest, LOL, and that's how you know I've been watching you for the longest." She still be live streaming and shit on Twitch. She don't do YouTube, I don't think. But yeah, so anyway, they're bombing churches somewhere.
Oh shit.
Sri Lanka.
Okay, yeah, they bombed like 3 churches
right now.
Wait, we done with the topic already?
For Easter. For Easter. But I think their Easter came like yesterday or something because I heard about this shit.
Yeah, I think so.
And like 200 people died.
Damn.
So.
And Sri Lanka have issues a lot with the Buddhists and Christians and
And
Muslims.
the Hindus.
Right. And the Hindus, yep.
Mook Damon, shout outs to you. He said, Dark Cloud, what is your major?
Computer science.
Computer science. You all right, Dark Cloud?
Yes, y'all done made him reminisce from the old days.
He's a little light skinned. No, I was gonna say to Sincere, what she said. I just wanted to touch on what she said. She's right. The first rock song ever is by Chuck Berry. It's called Maybelline. Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that. That she's right.
Well, one correction I will make is that Chuck Berry got his rock and roll influence from Rosetta Tharpe. Technically, she would be like the first one to have a recorded rock and roll record. But then after her, you would have Chuck Berry and you would have
he's ready.
And Elvis Presley cited her as a source of influence. Rosetta Tharpe, if y'all don't know who she is, man, all the way OG.
Wow.
Shout outs to V Keeps It Low Key. Speaking of fights, keep it real. Have y'all won or lost the majority of y'all fights in your lives, mentally and physically?
Oh, you already know I got a story for that. I'm tight with
Here we go. Let's hear it, Ravishing.
I
feel like Drew done got his ass whooped a lot. That's why.
Yeah, you already know.
I don't know about a lot.
I think Drew got his ass whooped a lot.
I haven't even been in that many fights.
Yeah, he's from New York. He definitely got his ass whooped.
That ass whooped. You want to talk about stabs?
I don't know, but the nigga got his ass whooped. Hey,
he got ass. I don't know what
nigga got ass whooped.
Hold on, Ravishing. How we know you telling the truth, nigga? How do we know that? You bullshitting. We don't know that.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
Fuck out of here. I ain't Dark Cloud.
Wait,
oh shit.
Oh, you getting mad?
I'm just not trying to snap on nobody.
We all family. Like I said, hey, we all family. Hey, we're all family here, all right? If your light skin, dark skin, don't matter. We all fam. But I'm gonna tell you, I learned something the hard way. One time we went to my homie's house and we put on gloves, boxing gloves. And I'm cool with the nigga that gave me the work till this day. Name is Simon Bayless. I learned he was tall, like 6'3", lanky. And when we put on the gloves, I'm like, I'm about to.
How old was you again?
I was like 14 going on 15. And I was like, you know what?
Is this equivalent to Bond Tales?
No. This is a true story. Let me finish. So I'm thinking I'm about to beat this nigga up because I play football. He plays basketball and he's lanky. Dog, this dude, not only I learned something that day, never underestimate anybody. He won, he got more punches, beat me handily. He could box, had distance, all that shit. So I lost. But the thing is, I learned something that day moving forward. Like, hey, you know what? Never underestimate, like the dude you look at who you think won't give you that work can give you that work. And I definitely lost that one. That was an L.
So my older brother is the only person that beat me up. I never lost a street fight ever. But my older brother was the only person that beat me up.
I used to fight
amateur. Your older brother don't even
one of my best friends.
Cycle, have you ever been in a street fight?
Oh my God. Do you look, man, you don't be listening to the podcast. You know where I'm from, man. Like, you know what? No, I had to fight, motherfucker. Had to fight. God damn it, had to. Even when I moved to Atlanta for a little bit, I had to fight. Because
what part of Atlanta? What part of Atlanta played?
What part of Atlanta? Southwest Atlanta.
SWATs. Yeah. Already. Well, you know what? I mean, it is what it is. But most niggas are jumping niggas. I'm just being honest with you.
Look, I came out here for a little bit, just to go through like my last year, middle school, and then again. My last year of high school. I went to Sylvan Middle School. You might know what that is.
Yeah, I know what that is. Sylvan. I went to I went out there to Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman Elementary and shit like that. But yeah, I know what Sylvan is.
I got in fucking 3 fights in a semester.
It happens.
In a semester, dog. Like
it happens.
Just because, you know what I'm saying, whatever the teacher say my name, I say here. Motherfuckers, why you sound like that? Why you sound like that? Why you talk like that?
Hey, where you from?
Yeah, this is way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And so got to a couple fights, graduated, moved back to LA, stayed there for a long time, and then came back my senior year. Got into it again in high school. Had Bethune.
Richard was like, here, cuz.
Yeah, nah, I was just straight from LA, like just different. Motherfuckers didn't like that.
Yeah,
motherfuckers just did not like.
Yo, shout out to Jamal, man. He said, "Great podcast." My questions to the whole podcast is how you perceive the black community today. I see the black ignorants, not whites or the government, that ruin the black community. DC, I respect you.
I'm not commenting.
Hold on. Then we got T Mac. He said, "DC the type of dude that would gloat about burning his toast."
What? I don't even eat bread, so that shit doesn't even apply to me.
Shout outs to V, keeps it low key, stay supporting Hard8 the GOAT.
Yeah. I don't even eat bread, so I don't even know how that applies to me.
Wow. That keto. Nah, hey, I just want to ask, Drew, how many times you got your ass whipped? Keep it real.
I only been in like 2 fights.
What?
In your life?
Yeah.
Like I said, New York niggas all talk, no heart.
Wait. Let me address Ravishing. Let me address him. Wait. Let me address Ravishing. Hold up. Let me address him real quick.
Come on, let's go.
Ravishing, when have I ever claimed I'm this tough guy like you do?
I'm playing with you.
Hold up. Wait. No. I want you to answer that question because you talking about all.
I'm gonna answer. Well, first of all, I'm older than you. You was born after 85. You are soft. Next.
That doesn't even make any sense. How does that make sense?
I am that man. Yeah, I get busy, nigga. Soft ass, nigga. Yeah,
Hey, Rabbit, you been drinking Rabbit?
Drew's I'm messing with him. I'm fucking with him.
Oh, man.
I'm messing with him.
I've never lost a street fight.
Let's go, baby. BX.
Hey, Ravish, you gonna have niggas quitting the podcast, man.
Yeah, my bad, y'all. You know I'm playing. You know I'm playing with him. You know I'm playing with the young.
It's all good.
Let kid go around. I'm not trying to spaz out. My kids go around. But anyways, I've never lost a street fight, but I did get my ass whooped in the military because to go to like combatives level, you have to go to like against higher people. Some of the niggas that you think you could whoop their ass in combatives level 4 or 5, and when you actually like graduate, I there was this one dude that literally like nigga put me to sleep, like chokehold me to knock out.
Yeah, I've been knocked out in the professional.
I've never actually been in a fight because one simple reason. I feel like I don't have a normal filter that regular people do. So if I'm a fight, we really not stopping until one of us isn't moving anymore.
Oh yeah, so, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna get tired.
I got a story to go.
I like making people cry for the most part. Like, if
I'm a chill dude. It's not like I was looking for fights.
Are y'all want to answer Jamal's question about the black community?
Y'all want to answer? Which one?
Let's go.
Yeah, we can get to it.
What was the question?
He said his question is to the whole podcast: how do you perceive the black community today? I see the black ignorants, not whites or the government, that ruin black communities. DC, I respect you. First of all, the government's put the guns and the drugs there, so
yeah, but also the government also like puts support like what's supposed to be normalized when it comes to like social media. Like you got rappers out here that's saying that fuck a black chick, where the light skins at, like we're the mixed breeds. So social media plays a large part in that, and it's all that about that red bone, light skin, having mixed kids. People don't want to have kids with nappy hair, shit like that.
Yeah,
so
listen, what DC's saying is right. And you see, the thing is, colorism in our community is like a real thing, but it goes way back before that. Even when we first got here, the plantation, the house Negro, the field Negro, and so we continue to kind of we keep it going. We're divided still, and there's always like these little divisions. As a whole, the black community now, I think now with the ADOS movement and everything like that, we're kind of getting on the same page. We're not going to be fooled again with Kamala Harris after Obama. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we're still divided because I feel like ADOS has, I feel like they're making the first step, but they're stopping too early. Like they're recognizing that that there's an issue and that this issue has been there forever.
Yo, I think we need to realize something. Like, it's not just in the black community. Like, I used to date a girl who was Indian, and she had the same problem.
Jesus.
Like everybody, like most of her family is like lighter skin, but she's darker. She's a darker Indian, and she goes through the same shit that we go through as black people. Like she's full blooded Indian.
Yeah, they had
that's a special case because I actually dated an Indian girl, and we broke up because her family found out that I was black, and they're darker than me. So they have their own colorism as well.
They have their own color. Yep, exactly.
Just because they're darker, they consider themselves to be more of on like the tone of white or whatever it is. But they were like, "Oh, you can't date him anymore. He's a nigga." I'm like, "What? I'm lighter than all of y'all."
But she used to.
They went through imperialism over in their country where the Brits set that type of caste system. So that's why when the ones that come to the United States, they still carry that mindset. Like even if you look at their celebrities. They want to make sure that they're light skinned and not dark.
The Northern Indians.
Actually, the caste system that's something that's older even than the imperial system that happened in India.
Yeah, you're right about that because if you, all right, for instance, if we're talking about in India, we bring up the blue Smurf god, Krishna, right? And for no reason, historically, they've turned him blue. He was originally black, like blue black, as many of the gods were back then. You know what I'm saying? And then their caste system is something, to be honest with you, is that the Europeans, including the Brits, had later adopted to implement on black folks around 1492, post 1492 moving forward, which is why on a lot of times we suffer from it to this very day.
Well, they made it into like a law, doctrine, like in South Africa, for example, like what's going on with them, where they have the mixed people are up top, below white people, then light skin, then if you're dark skin.
And it continues on to this very day. But yeah, the caste system has been very popularized. Again, going back to their gods, they start changing the complexions of their gods way back then. Even if you want to talk about the gods of Cambodia, out there in Mexico, Mesoamerica, there was this weird renaissance globally of just turning all of the blue black gods to like white, blue, pink, and all of that type of stuff. And unfortunately, like the homeboy said, a lot of our music is just laden with. We saw YG's ignorant ass at a damn funeral. What the fuck you just said, and I'm like, come on with your pussy.
What was the dumbest shit ever?
He said we need to protect our light skin girls. Yeah,
DC.
At the funeral,
we gotta raise and protect these light skinned girls. At
the funeral,
what?
At the funeral,
Nipsey's funeral.
Right, and he was about to say bitches. He's about to say we gotta protect these light skinned bitches.
I'm saying we got these light skinned bitches.
He did not need to be there. Shout out to Sir Lloyd Black. He said the Willie Lynch syndrome messed up a lot of people. He said look up the letter he wrote to the American slave masters. That's true.
It's to this day, and even though I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, even though I hear black people complain about colorism, a lot of us fight to figure out which part of colorism we want to keep. Do we want to get rid of the darkism, right? Like, oh, we making jokes about dark skin, but then we want to keep jokes about light skin, or we don't want nobody saying nothing about light skin, but we making jokes about dark skin or the biracial stuff. So I think to me, at the culture of black folk, we got to understand we're no more hypocritical than everybody else. We just have other things, pressurizing us, but we can't have this false sense of nobility where we don't check ourselves because we're just as hypocritical as everybody else.
We do have to have accountability. Like we know about the drug trafficking, the gun trafficking and all that, but it's like I do think purposely you have a segment of our community that just ignore things that are going well that they can help build up, like Afro Tech and all these young black people trying to create their own companies and businesses. I do find it weird that we keep ignoring those people.
Yeah, I find it odd that for the most part, there's this division. Well, not really division, but there's these people who are there's this new woke movement in the black community,
right?
Which I'm all for. No.
It ain't
what I'm talking about is new. I'm talking about all of these, it seems like an influx of people who, like ADOS is all of a sudden taking off and things like that. But everyone seems to be focusing on small issues that affect Black people, but not like the bigger issues, or focusing so much on the fact that, let's say, wage inequality affects Black, or reparations affects Black people, right? but not looking at the fact that addressing wage inequality, addressing Medicare, addressing education inherently lifts up Black people because we are the ones who are most affected by the lack of these things.
Yeah, but you're also, but listen, it's not fair though to group Blacks into that because we, from slavery in this country from 1619 to 1865, that's 249 years of free labor, and so reparations are due. I'd rather, and you can't compare the Hotep hustlers to ADOS, two different things. But what I will say, the Hotep hustlers, you know, the new woke movement. So,
okay.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, no, Blacks in this country, and yeah, I will say this, they are definitely due reparations. That's facts.
And I'm gonna agree to some of your points there, what you're saying, Ravishing, because my issue is the economic issue of it.
Yeah.
And also the bias. It's like, you saw how for years, like, people were crying about affirmative action is not fair. But then, like, you look at the Abigail case, and it showed that the majority of people who got in that had a lower GPA than her were actually white. But you saw everybody trying to blame Black people just so they can get rid of affirmative action. And even though Medicaid for all and all these things are going to be good, they're still going to be given through white institutions. So you're still going to have a lot of Black people that are going to be denied certain things based off of the same old games. Like, we remember with FDR, when he put out policies to try to help the middle class and all that, it didn't really touch most Black people. Like, they still had to try to figure out their own thing.
Yeah, they really did. And then if you bring up the woke movement, you know, one thing we keep in mind is that, like, let's be honest, we all like placate to the algorithm, right? So if you put in hashtag woke, right, that puts your video, your podcast in a specific feed for monetization. So a lot of these people are fronting, and I think, like, the woke has actually taken away from quote unquote conscious or Black folks who were just concerned. Because some Black folks, they like, don't group me under that conscious Talib Kweli shit. I'm just concerned about my people, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of like falsification of Black consciousness has been taking place online. That's what gets people angry. So then you see a movement like ADOS that you see these charged Black folk. They're like, yo, no, this is what we're doing. We're going to go straight to the meat. We're just talking about us as Black Americans. And I think that's where you kind of start seeing those movements, to bounce off Ravishing and Sin's point. I think that's what's going on. Now, if you agree with it or not, that's up to you if you debate it. But you do see, like, the ADOS is a clear response to the financial incentivized woke culture that we see online, like, you know, crack privilege by Charlemagne.
I agree. My only problem, like, I agree that we are owed something, absolutely. My only problem with the subset of ADOS that believe that reparations in the form of like a one-time check or something is enough, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of give us a check, that's what we need. My concern is, if you give everyone a check, every Black person, homeless to the best person, a check, without giving them the education on how to handle that money, on how to wisely invest in their community or create new things or keep it in their own community, they're going to give all that money right back.
I agree. You know what? Candace has an extremely valid, true point. Definitely, I agree 100%. Financial literacy is a real thing that lacks. Our culture is not intact. When immigrants from Mexico, Asia, wherever, they come here, they know their customs, their culture, they keep their dollars in their community. They know how to aggregate. You see, Chinese and Japanese people will never complain about who's the president of this country, because it doesn't matter. They're going to continue to get money. Blacks, we have these divisions, you know, who's mixed, who's light skinned, who's what. And other races, like my best friend happens to be a Chinese and French female who speaks Mandarin. And guess what? When they find out she's mixed or whatever, they don't care. As long as she speaks the language, she's getting money and she's good to go. She's in. So go ahead. Go.
No, I was gonna say, this is what I noticed about talking to many different races of many different backgrounds and everything else is, people, they have understood and taught their children that nobody's going to give you shit. You have to go out there and earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I hear this stuff about reparations and all, and look, if they're gonna give us a check, then cool, they don't give us a check. But that's just not the way I was brought up. I was brought up.
They're giving everybody else a check.
Yeah,
giving everybody else a check. Yeah.
My issue with it is that but the black people that are working hard, a lot of them aren't getting anything in return. Like they show the stats like for black businesses, especially like black women right now, and they're like leading and starting up businesses, but they don't get any loans most of the time.
Least likely to be promoted.
Black people, period, male and female, less than 1% of venture capitalists. And they had like you see like black people tech all day, like starting up businesses. Like I follow a lot of these people on Twitter too. Yeah. And it's extremely hard for them to get any type of revenue or backing.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
You don't know. Let me see this.
They don't want the whites to they don't want the black people to succeed. Go back to like Black Wall Street. Why did they burn that down?
Because they had to stay in the military.
Yeah, and you know what? What you guys are saying is on point. I'm glad we're having this discussion. What it is they would rather give you a $100 or $40,000 student loan, and the same time turn around and not give you a $10,000, $15,000 business loan. This is crazy.
I'm sorry, but you understand that a student loan can never be bankrupt.
Wait a minute, real quick. If you have the right credit, they're gonna give you what you want. That's
not true. That's not true.
I don't believe that.
After the recession, banks got millions of dollars in bailouts that they were specifically supposed to use for low-income communities, namely Black communities that were struggling to maintain their housing, their mortgages. I don't remember which bank it was that got sued for it, but they took that bailout and then turned people down for refinancing their mortgages and loans. So all these people lost their houses.
And they show that even with a lot of the upstart companies, right? So there's a lot of white people who are starting upstart company, right? And even if they get $50 million, and some of them do be pocketing that money, I laugh because you get ripped off as a bank or a venture capitalist because you just believe in every white person. That's your problem. But you see how they just wasted money there, but they couldn't like try to bet on a Black person that has a company.
Well, you know, another thing I think that's an understated phenomenon in our culture is that I hate to say it, but I mean, it's the truth. Like we don't have no standards in a cohesive cultural sense, right? Like let's say, for instance, anytime a half talent like Justin Timberlake can get like a black card, quote unquote, the fact that there's a black card that even fucking exists is ridiculous.
We give that to him, though. It's not that he took it or whatever.
No, it's not about that. No, that's not my point. My point is not that he took it. It's about our cohesiveness as a collective. The fact that we've created a hyperbole black card to hand out to certain white celebrities because they jigged on some Shirley Temple shit in front of us, right?
Hold on. Can I say something really fast? We do not hate any white people.
No, that's not the case, though.
Somebody in the chat.
Let's look at this real quick, though, right?
Hold on. Who said we hate white people?
No.
Somebody in the chat is saying that we hate white people.
Yeah, we don't hate white people.
No, that's not the case. That's not the case. What I'm doing here, but see, even with that, like that kind of pushback, right? Like think about that. Whenever you pull to your group, right? Let's say we brought up the Chinese, we brought up the Mexicans, we brought up everybody. Nobody says their form of nationalism is
exactly. You know what?
Right? But when we start talking about our economic black folks,
then it's divisive.
Then comes the thing like, do you hate white folks?
When black people want to do something for black folks, then it's divisive. To Prince Solomon's point.
Shout outs to Sauce Curry TV. Said Candace is 100% right. You can't just give money if the person not educated in the importance of saving and investing. I had to learn how to save by myself. Also, Tony Wood 25 said reparations is just as impossible as justifying payments to some college athletes. None of us were slaves, so explain the fair equality. I don't know what you're equitable. Okay. Payment plan.
Okay.
And V keeps it low key. Said, do you guys like the internet as a whole, or would you guys prefer the back in the day days?
Nah.
Where us nerds were just on it. It seems like
I like back in the day.
Wherever more humans are, the more negativity there will be.
I miss the anonymity of back in the day internet.
Yeah.
The early days of the internet were fun. I mean, the internet is cool now, but it was the Wild Wild West back in the day.
Yeah, it was. That's why everybody getting in trouble now.
And just so
censorship, right?
Just so you guys know, the reason I'm quiet during the conversations is not my place to speak on this.
Hey man, it's all. Hey, so you good, Demon? You good, man? You good, man?
There's a lot of blocking going on in the chat. What's going on?
It's just one dude.
Another. Oh man.
No, I only hit one message because somebody.
No, but it's the same dude. That's the same dude. He's the only dude that got blocked. Disrespectful to everybody.
That said you could be a banker.
No.
Yeah, you did.
No, no. Dragon. The only dude I blocked was Dragon Slayer.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer said,
Don't block him.
Dragon Slayer said, laughing my ass off, you could be a banker, and you timed him out.
No, he didn't say that. It was some other message that I
Yeah,
timed
he said
out.
some other shit.
You said some other shit.
Yo, man. Yo.
What are you talking about?
Hey, that's the homie right
Because
there.
he was talking about to some other dude.
Yeah.
Yo, but
I just think for me personally, and my whole thing with all this, you know, irrespective to the ADOS movement or any other movement that pushes for Black financial capitalism, because that's very important, but also knowledge, like somebody brought up about education with finances, then we got to be comfortable with defense of ourselves, because let's keep it real. When we bring up Black Wall Street, we got to keep in mind there were regular white male citizens that were deputized, militarized overnight, and those Black communities didn't have standing militaries because they just assumed that through Black progress, and if we stayed to ourselves, we would be left alone. Sorely mistaken, right? And then my thing is this: with all this, we got to keep in mind too, just briefly, is that there's an inherent fear that reverberates from Black culture. Part of the appeal of what sells a 50 Cent, part of the appeal of what sells a Nicki Minaj, part of the appeal of what sells a LeBron James to some degree. They call him a freak of nature instead of saying he's blessed, right? With our culture, we have to be comfortable saying, hey, let's work out our politics with each other. We don't need to do no disclaimers. None of us will run around here on some talking about Khalid Muhammad shit, burning white folks down. We're not talking about that. But there's an inherent fear with Black energy, even from us, because we know in any high school, if 5 Black kids are walking through in a group, there are faculty that will break them up and say you guys are up to something. You know what I'm saying? So there's this cultural fear within us and outside of us that keeps us in these spaces. That's my whole thing about it. Irrespective of the ADOS movement or not, you're still going to have a cultural kickback because there's a fear of just Black energy, period.
And going to the reparation thing, I do think the government is being lazy. And I think when people talk about reparations and slavery, not everyone was slaves, I think they're being lazy with that thought process, because my grandfather, when he lived in North Carolina, he had a home. He had a lot of things that business. He had to flee that business based off of racism and based off of people threatening his life, including the local government. So that's land and wealth lost. Like, people act like you're talking about just Harriet Tubman and shit. We're talking about something that affected people like 30 years ago, messing with people's businesses, messing with people's their wealth and their health. So I think we got to keep that in mind.
And then also lynching was used to eliminate Black competitors. Like, if we go back in our history, I know we bring up Black Wall Street. There were plenty of our people who did damn very well. And somebody was like, you know what? That fucking nigger looked at my woman. Go hang the whole town. And that happened. That happened. We saw Seneca Village. We saw Black Wall Street. We saw what happened in Florida. It happened all over. So we got to keep in mind with all of that.
Not to mention, to the token Black person thing is their way of like allowing us into their business.
Yes, a masking of the other struggle. Yeah.
Again, like in place that I work, you could tell by the amount of people that there's only, I could probably name about 5 on the list that are like Black.
Wow. Hey, you know what? In conclusion, I wanted to add too, the South had Jim Crow. Out on the West Coast and in the North, we had redlining. All right.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that.
Shout out to Corey Ford. He said integration messed us up as a whole. We were better off economically in segregation.
Facts.
And shout out to Toyo. He said achieve financial freedom through real estate. Look into real estate wholesaling, rental properties, and subject to agreements.
I agree with
better in segregation.
I don't agree with that.
Listen, here's the thing.
Let me say that it depends. It depends on the structure that we're in, because segregation is where they're going to look at is if we don't have the type of military or the type of like knowledge to protect ourselves. The fact they fear the fact that we could overgrow them and they will take us out. They will poison our waters.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Candice. Go for it.
What I want to say is I think a lot of Black people right now, or a lot of the ones who are trying to think about how do we make solutions. Let's talk about reparations. I think the problem is we're stuck in this capitalist mentality. We're trying to figure out how can we make it work in a capitalistic system. And I think what they don't realize is inherently we can't. Black people do not get ahead as a whole in a capitalist society because capitalism dictates that there must be winners and losers. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to shout out the Black Socialists of America on Twitter. I suggest everybody check them out at the very least. to see some of the stuff that they're talking about, because we have to change the whole system. We're not trying to replace the dominant power to become the new dominant power. We're just trying to make things better. And I think we have to change the system to do that.
I'll say this and keep it short because I know, let me say something. The show's about to end, but blacks in this country can affect change if we come together. That can happen. All other ethnicities, Jewish, Asian, they affect change. They aggregate their wealth. They can pay lobbyists and go for the people. Whoever's on the next 2020, we vote. They vote for whoever's going to benefit their community and their capitalism. So we can do the same. And I'll say this. I'll recommend the book. Dr. Claude Anderson, Black Power, White Wealth. You guys check that out. I'm sorry, Black Labor, White Wealth. I would advise that book for everybody, Dr. Claude Anderson. We can do this if we come together.
I just want to add one thing. It's that our black people, we're too stuck on, I wouldn't say all of us, we're too stuck on like social media, and because a lot of us now, I wouldn't say us, not us in here, but a lot of black people will look at like a black person that's now in the movie, or the fact that they're saying that they want more black like main actors in movies, and they look at that, oh, it's a win, black people are winning. No, it's the white man basically putting something, making it seem like we're winning, and then you're just looking at that social media, not understanding that there's other ways that we could win, instead of looking at our celebrities and thinking, oh, there's more black people that's like in a role, more black directors like in a role that they're basically making suggestions and opinions and things. We're just looking at social media as that's a win, but that's not really a win. There's nothing that changed for us.
Right.
Shout outs to V, keeps it low key. He said, what would y'all be doing if y'all never gamed in life? Good podcast. I missed the Under the Influence podcast last week. Hopefully y'all do it again.
I'd be a hell of a fisherman.
I'd be a concert pianist.
Probably like track.
Because I probably would have practiced instead of playing games.
Do y'all think black people will ever get it together and actually unify?
We have no choice. We gotta figure something. We gotta do something.
I think because it's in our lifetime, things just seem like so far away. But like people forget, extremely long time ago, the continent of Africa and a lot of places in Asia was considered the place to be. Like cultures changed, certain people become empowered, certain people, certain spaces, sometimes based off of climate change and other things that we don't have time to go into right now, pertaining to history. A dominant society is not always the dominant society forever. Like we like if you look at the United States, it's a baby compared to Europe, compared to Africa, and compared to China, to Asia, pertaining to dynasties and empires. Years, So you never know what will happen 100 years from now.
And that's the thing about it too, because even if we're talking about cultural trends, we, just to be real, at one time, black illegitimacy was much less than white illegitimacy. And we do have to be honest about social effects and change, and even engineering, societal engineering online that reroutes us online in certain behavioral patterns. Like even I know we brought up the Indians before of India, but Herodotus, even when he visited, quote unquote, at the time Al-Kabalan, the Africa that we know it was Africa of the East, or Al-Kabalan of the East. And then that specific part of Asia was considered Al-Kabalan of the West. And they were saying the only difference between them was that they had wavy hair. But now over time, through political redefinition, conquering, now we just know them, they're Indians. And then we're talking about the Nigerian blacks and moving forward. So those are things that we had to be understanding, including, quote unquote, the ADOS movement. I would just monitor the outcome of it. You can agree to certain things, but you have to be careful when they start injecting personality, because black people, like everybody else, we're personality driven, and we have the highest social media engagement rate too among any other group. So anybody can come in by the state and co-opt the whole movement and become the face of that movement.
Shout outs to Tony Wood 25. He said, I had an uncle, a niece, and cousin murdered during a drive-by, and sister was I guess he's saying raped by Q dogs at Michigan State. Should I get extra reparations from these criminal pockets? Y'all sound good, but flaws.
Huh? Well, he's talking about an isolated incident. You can't compare the same thing.
Right. We're talking about government and institutions doing things that they should pay back for. We're not talking about individual crimes.
Yeah, we're talking about systematic. Yeah. He's not. This is two different things. Apples and oranges, player.
And I would actually find like that. And that's unfortunate what happened, player. But I would actually challenge my local authority officials. Did they prosecute those individuals? Did your prosecutors drop the ball? Like, we had to keep that in mind too. We had to have nuances when we're looking at this thing. And I personally feel we don't have that online, period. White, black, there's no room for context on social media.
Just remember, because Sense was talking about like all these dynasties and how America is a baby and all of this good stuff. Just remember, no empire lasts forever. Right. Every single one of them falls eventually, and usually by their own hand. And right now, it's looking a lot like the American empire. It's on the decline. So if people continue to get active, continue to educate themselves, we could actually make change within our lifetime. It's going to take work.
Yeah, people are waking up. People are waking up. So
yeah. Tyranny is also it's like a hologram though too, like where government goes. I know like historically we've been kind of taught it's independent of the citizens, but morality also plays into it as well, because Hitler, Stalin were able to come in on ideals of certain things that were already disseminating amongst the people, and they co-opted or took advantage of the temperament that was going on
for Germany, Russians,
so like that too. It's not just like there's
so you got to be careful. You don't want to pick the wrong party, the wrong people.
People acting like it's just this America's just this Borg, that's just like clearly like when we don't give a fuck about Flint, we don't care about the 200 plus schools down in Chicago. People don't care about the children. Like, we got to understand our culture too, recognize the devil that's in all of us that lends power to greater devils that are actually in power too.
That's because of the lack of knowledge and the basically how we were taught to like pay attention to things. Because those same people that are like about these churches and about Flint and all that, I can guarantee you most people don't even know about that. They know about the next upcoming Instagram model, and that's all they care about.
All right, somebody got Chuck E. Cheese, so we got to get
Hey man,
yeah, man, we appreciate. We're gonna get to these outros. Definitely a good, deep conversation today. So I want to thank the guests for coming through, thought crimes and shit like that. Appreciate y'all. So let's get to the intro. So we can start with y'all. Outros. Sorry. We can start with y'all. So
you talking about us? Thought crime or true crimes?
Yes.
True crime. True crime.
You know what I mean?
Okay, see, you want to give us the links? She's better at it than I am. She can remember all the links better than I am. I'm gonna fuck up something.
We have Thought Crimes podcast on Spotify. We're also on iTunes. We're also on Google Podcasts, and we're on YouTube as well. Our Instagram is Thought Crimes 1984, and our Twitter handle is @Thought_Crimes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Ravish.
Yeah, I'm gonna put their links in the chat as well. Hit me on Twitter. Shout out to the guest, Thought Crimes, Prince Solomon, Sincere, pleasure. Hear you next week.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's fine.
Love. Yeah.
Is Melon still here?
Well,
Nah, I don't.
Melon.
The chat.
What you got pro black?
Pissed him off.
What the fuck happened to Melon?
The chat pissed him off, man. He left.
I gotta get up out of here.
Pissed him off. What the fuck? Shout outs to Drew. Go ahead, Drew.
Drew Games, great podcast. Yeah.
All right, Demon.
Yeah, I was quiet last hour. It's just not my issue to speak on black issues. You know what I mean? It's your community, and let y'all talk. It is what it is. But yeah, thank you for having me on as always. 2 for 41, right? We doing good. We're doing good.
Go ahead. You ain't done? Go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I had.
All right. You coming back to YouTube? No.
I'm thinking about it, bro. Thinking about it. Maybe with my next PC upgrade.
All right. Go ahead, Candace.
All right. Shout out to the guests. It was definitely a really good discussion this week. Hopefully everybody comes back for our next podcast next week.
People like Melon fell asleep. I'm like, what the fuck? All right. Go ahead, Dark Cloud.
Yo, good ass podcast. Topics was lit, man. Pretty hype. I have to go up to LA though. I need to talk to this nigga Ravishing with the hands.
Ravishing call. Everybody call, man.
About to kick the shit out this nigga's ankles.
What the fuck happened to Melon though?
He rage quit, man.
Somebody say he in the weapon wheel chat.
Somebody else said he and GLM went quiet at the same time. So
Yo, go ahead, Cycle.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to say, man. This is Cycle, man. Shout out to the guests. Shout out to the chat. And see y'all next week, man.
All right. Shout outs to Jay Harris, man. He said, speaking on Claude Anderson. Yeah,
Claude Anderson, yeah.
Claude. Okay. Please check out Powernomics. It's very insightful. And shout outs to Tony Wood 25. He said, one last thing, Hard 8. I made moves to take care of the family. I refuse to be a victim. Great show. Even if I don't always agree with y'all. Peace.
That's what's up.
They said, shout outs to Larry Miller. Yo, episode 41 is now coming to a conclusion, man. Shout outs to all the super chat. Shout outs to all the comments. Make sure y'all hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Don't be lazy. Hit that shit. And we appreciate y'all for coming through. Melon, where you at? He's in Weapon Wheel chat right now. Shit crazy.
Oh, shit.
Big week coming up. We got Mortal Kombat 11 days going. Avengers Endgame. Shit gonna be lit next Sunday. So make sure y'all tune in.
On.
A lot of anime too, man.
No, we don't care about that.
Look, man. Hey, let me plug real quick. Let me plug my Wingy interview. I'm gonna drop a 16 bars, all that good shit. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, I forgot I'm a superstore. I'm a superstore. If you the truth, if you the truth, I'm the story. All right, yeah, let's go.
Okay. Yeah, can I shout out the sponsors?
Yeah, check out my channel this week.
Shout out to the sponsor. You ain't got no damn sponsors, so.
Oh shit! Yo,
Charles to them, man. But anyway, man, we about to get up out of here. Thanks everybody for coming through, and we gone.
Later.
Deuce.